Good morning, beautiful people. It is Thursday, July 23rd, 2020, and today is officially the day that one of the major sports in the United States of America is officially back. Yeah! Yankees Nationals tonight, 7 p.m. We will be live at youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. AJ Hawk will be joining myself, the boys. We'll have some special guests. We have some bets and super boosts that are being calculated right now for the game, and we will celebrate the living hell out of sports, a major league coming back tonight in the MLB. And if we take a trip back just a few weeks, maybe even a month ago, and we remember that Steve Rob Manfred in the negotiations between the MLB and the MLBPA. It was finances, it was COVID, it was government restrictions, local ordinances, it was everything. Somehow they have found a way to launch this 60-game season, and tonight, Tony Foch is going to lead and open this entire thing. I'm betting he skips it in. Will he have a mask on? I'd say yes.
Probably.
Will he have gloves on?
Can't.
No.
But if he doesn't have gloves on, does he really care about COVID-19 potentially not happening there? What do? We judge Tony Foch's throw. We judge the entire game. We have special guests. We watch it. We enjoy it. And this is just a little piece of sports coming back. This is just a little piece of our world coming back. This is just a little piece of resiliency that our country and the world has to show against this bitch COVID-19. And that is why Thursday, July 23rd, will be a hell of a celebration and a day that we remember for a long, long time. Am I a massive baseball fan? No. But tonight, will I be? Oh, yeah. Here we go. A lot of big baseball news happening, by the way. Mookie Betts just signed for $397 million guaranteed.
92.
$5 million is a lot of money there just to accidentally slip it in there. $392 million guaranteed over the next 12 years with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Mm-hmm. How in the hell? A lot of people are wondering. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs have been signing players at massive rates. You know, Patrick Mahomes, Chris Jones, they're going to have to pay other people. Nobody knows where any of this money is coming from, the salary cap. But in the baseball world, $392 million over the next 13 seasons, second in value only to Mike Trout, all guaranteed. How in the world has the MLB and the Los Angeles Dodgers, who have no idea how the finances are going to be for the next couple years, able to lock this guy down for almost $400 million? Don't know, don't care, but congrats to Mookie Betts.
Okay.
Yesterday we talked to Kevin and he said that he turned down a deal that was similar to this from the Boston Red Sox. So does he hate the city of Boston? Maybe. But does he love the city of Los Angeles? Feels like it. And for the next 13 years, he's going to be a Dodger. And that team feels like they are getting set up for the long haul. And I don't know anything about them. I don't know their batting order. I don't know their bullpen. I don't know any of that. But I do know that a man who plays sports, hits balls a long way, wears some change, just got $392 million guaranteed. And for me, that's always a celebration. So congrats to Mookie Betts getting his money. Congrats to the MLB getting back on the diamond. And congrats to America for figuring some things out, it feels like, in the middle of the most insane time in the history of the world to be alive. Now, there are some bearer of bad news is here. And if you check out the Doppler over there in D.C., you can see a high probability of confusion when it comes to the Washington football team. You could see a high probability of ineptitude happening in the politics world. And if you check the Doppler, you see that there is a 50% chance of absolute torrential downpour for this Yankees Nationals game. And a lot of people on the internet said, well, that would make sense because that's 2020. A rained out game when the first game of a 60-game season would definitely be 2020. Encapsulated in one moment. But for me, I go, no, we're turning a corner. It's going to be clear skies out there. We're going to hear bats and balls and chirps and no spitting. By the way, can't spit. Don't even think about spitting.
Nope.
I know that baseball is a big spitting community. A lot of spitting. Hey, here we go. Now, here we go. Now, hi, here we go. Now, here we go. Hi, here we go. Here we go. There's a lot of that. No more. But we will hear everything else. Clear skies. Let's not even bring in the fact that there's a 50% chance of the game not happening. Let's talk about that other 50% chance of it definitely happening. And we'll be here with you, youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show for the entire game. Myself, AJ Hawk will be joining us a little bit later because he has a family thing. We'll have special guests, a lot of big special guests from what I've been told. I have not put it together. Our guy Diggs has. And we'll just enjoy this Major League Baseball coming back. All the boys are here at Nick Moroto, at Tone Diggs, at Ty Schmidt, Jason McAfee, Viva Lazito, Evan Foxy, and on the phones, 1-833-622-3331, wearing a shirt that says something that he is not. Ladies and gentlemen, at Boston Connor.
It says Wicked Smart, and it's also a crop top, not a shirt, Pat. Thank you.
Oh, dude. Jeez. I can see your belly button.
Well, you're definitely not wicked ripped. Let's talk about your night last night. You got home very late last night because you went to something that was very special from what I've been told.
Yes, very special. It actually did feel like a little bit of history. Went to the Dave Chappelle show in Ohio yesterday. Unbelievable. It was out there in the middle of a Christmas tree farm, but it was fantastic, spread out perfectly, seats of 2 all over the place. They had checks. They checked your temperature when you walked in. Everybody wear a mask unless you're in the guilt-free smoking zone, which I didn't attend to. And also there was a little bit of a food truck. It was great.
Well, now you're just chewing on a filter. The rest of your cigarette just ripped off finally.
Smoke it to the filter, right?
Was Chappelle awesome or what?
Oh, Chappelle was awesome. I mean, he definitely had a few more things to say. I think I was lucky enough Mansouri brought me also. Shout out Mansouri. But he was working on something. I think there's a bigger set coming. There might be a couple clips, but that he did not touch on the Kanye thing.
Okay, so he did not talk about Kanye because whenever I heard you guys were going to a Dave Chappelle stand-up show in the middle of a field in Ohio, just days after he flew to Wyoming and had a very awkward encounter with Kanye West,
yes,
I assumed that he would talk about Kanye. You said no, he did not talk about that, but he did touch on literally everything else.
Yeah, he touched on a lot of stuff. On Jemima, Uncle Ben, he touched on that very briefly. And then also with the Kanye thing, I think it's much more serious than people are talking about it maybe, so that's why he didn't really touch on it.
No, people are talking very seriously about it. I mean,
I'm sorry, then I was talking about it.
And by the way, for me too, because I thought it was all just a promotional ploy, and then it seems like after watching that video with Chappelle, there's potentially something going on. T's and P's to Kanye West in his brain and everybody around him. Kim Kardashian came out with a very long statement. And now let's pivot away from your Chappelle and Kanye. And I'm happy you went to that, by the way. Legendary thing. Out in the middle of the field, you weren't allowed to take any pictures, but you did take a couple. But I think you used an iPhone 1 to take those photos.
My first flip phone, yes.
Yeah, so you potentially almost got kicked out of a legendary event for a picture that we can't even see anything in. So
hey, that's business, baby.
That is business, baby. Antonio Brown is another person who was promoting their album Himothy, which is coming out soon. Antonio Brown, just a few days ago, everybody assumed was retiring, announcing his retirement. Now, he never said he was actually retiring. He just questioned a couple times, like, is it time for me to give it up? I done checked everything off the list. Here I am. Now, here we are a couple days later, and Antonio Brown posts a video of Roger Goodell speaking, and then in the caption, he breaks down a lot of things that he's been going through with the NFL and with the NFL's investigations. In the caption, Antonio Brown writes, and at NFL, excuse me, okay? I know you guys got social media people running that who, their jobs are just to post clips from Good Morning Football and highlights and happy birthdays and all that stuff. But whoever the social media coordinator is, Antonio Brown says, I need you to run this one up the chain and go ahead and get this in front of Goodell, will you? Social media coordinator says, what are you coming to me for? I will send this up the chain, though. I have complied with each and every ask of your investigations throughout the past 11 months. Okay, so now we're getting a chance to learn a little bit more because I thought that the NFL wasn't investigating Antonio Brown fully until a team was interested. Then they would have to complete the investigation and then lay down the suspension. I guess the investigation has been happening for the last 11 months. You have had access to all of my phones. You know what the deal is in each and every situation that the media has distorted. I have been seeing the therapist you asked me to. I've worked on all aspects of my life this past year and have become a better man because of it. The fact that you refuse to provide a deadline and the reason for the fact you won't resolve your investigation is completely unacceptable. I demand you to I demand you. I like this. I demand you provide me clarity on this situation immediately if you really care about my well-being. My legal team continues to ask and you provide no answer. How is it that the league can just drag its feet on any investigation it chooses on players and we just have to sit there in limbo? Need an update so I can talk to these teams properly. They're waiting on you at NFL. Let's get this thing moving. We've got history to make. Hashtag Himothy, which is an album he is dropping soon. Now, Antonio Brown here, I could see why he would be furious if this is what has all been happening. And we never knew what was happening. We saw that the Saints were interested. We saw that the Seattle Seahawks had done a little bit of research. Allegedly, some other teams have as well. And the reports have always been all these teams that are interested in Antonio Brown have no idea how the investigation is going to turn out, and they have no idea how many games they're going to be suspended. And I would assume Antonio Brown was sick of that because he's like, hey, for the last year, I've been giving them my phone. They've sent me to a therapist. I've been doing interviews. I've had to talk here, and they have yet to give me any answers, any clarity. You could see how Antonio Brown could potentially be pretty furious in this, and you could see why he potentially says, I'm done with this. I am sick of this. I would just like an answer. Now, is Roger Goodell in the NFL holding off the announcement of whatever the penalty will be or whatever the outcome of the investigation was? Because whenever they came out, laid a suspension on Ray Rice, more information was rolled out later via TMZ, a video, which completely made Roger Goodell and the NFL look terrible. And the allegations that were against Antonio Brown were very serious. So maybe the NFL is scared that if they do make a ruling, some more information will roll out in the future and make them look bad. But the NFL, you're big boy league here. You did your investigation. You learn from your mistakes that you made in the past by either not looking for a video or not diving in deep enough. If this is truly an 11-month investigation where they've gone through all of his phone, they've looked through everything, and they have a clear understanding of what happened, what shouldn't happen, if they would just say this is the suspension, I would assume Antonio Brown would be like, thank you. Now that I know I'm being suspended 2 games, 4 games, 6 games, 8 games even, at least the team could potentially be like, hey, we'll get you halfway through the season. But if you're keeping a guy in limbo, you could see why he would be furious no matter what state of mind he's in, no matter what his other hobbies are, whether they're rapping, singing, whatever it is. I feel for Antonio Brown here if that is the case, and we haven't heard anything about that ever. The only thing we've heard is that, they still have to do their investigation.
When I read it, there's one big sentence in there that makes you feel for him and hopefully makes the NFL kind of, if you care about my well-being. Like if you care about me as a human being and me growing as a human being and getting better, then make a decision on this so we can tell teams what this situation is so that then offers will come in and then I get back to doing what I want to do.
Now, what if the NFL has done its investigation and saw that something happened? Like there's always, right? You always got to think about the other side here. And what if Goodell today is like, all right, if this is what you want to play, we did do our investigation and this is what we found. And that is why we aren't doing it. Like, because you never know what happened. None of us know what happened with the allegations against Antonio Brown that were not. None of us know. No, we saw some Instagram Live events that happened in the middle of all of that where he had a lot of people, I assume, coming out, turning on him, everything he thought was happening, and there was a lot of bad allegations coming out. But if for the last 11 months he has been being investigated and they've not given him a single update or anything, you could see why he'd be mad. And I think personally, Antonio Brown, if he can continue to get his life back together, see the therapist, maybe get his mental health straightened out, which it feels like he possibly has, aside from him trying to promote his album here 2 days ago, which is interesting timing. I feel like, hey, let's get him back in there because be who you can afford to be. Now, we don't know what happened, obviously. If he did something terrible, not allowed in the league. Don't be in the league. Got to represent the Shield in a proper fashion. But if they have completed their investigation, let's give the guy something.
Yeah, well, teams who are interested in him, obviously they won't pressure the NFL, but will they ask Goodell, like, hey, is this being
they all
moved,
have.
or?
Sean Payton said they asked. I believe the Seattle Seahawks came out and said they asked. So teams have asked. And I believe that is why Antonio's like, hey, teams have asked. I have asked. Will you just give us something here so I'm not stuck in this purgatory? Yeah. And I would just like to figure out whether or not I should, get back in the stew. Get back in the booth. Himothy, and then Himothy's kid. Do I do the entire thing, or should I continue to focus on running the greatest routes maybe the NFL has ever seen? That is something that he is worried about. 13 minutes after the hour, we got to get to a break. I don't want to say you should feel bad for Antonio Brown ever, because Antonio Brown has made his bed, right? He's put himself in these situations. We all agree with that. But if these allegations are false, and if they get settled and handled and everything like that, and the NFL is still like, well, you did take a shot at one of our owners pretty hard on the internet. And there is an Instagram Live video of you throwing plastic penises at something. And this, the NFL is doing that, and they're just kind of holding over his head. That's kind of messed up too. Somebody's got to take the high road here. Just tell him if he's suspended for an entire year. Tell him if he's not suspended. Just give the guy some sort of direction because he's probably trying to live his life too.
Yeah, if you're AB, even if it's bad news, like it's better knowing the news than having to just wait and have no idea what's happening in your life.
Which would explain the cryptic tweets about him retirement. You know, it's like, hey, if you guys are going to keep jerking me around, like, I'm done with it. I don't need it anymore.
Him and his kid's mother are back together. His kids are back at the house.
Nice.
He's seeing a therapist. Hey, listen, I know not everybody deserves second chances, especially if you do something that's terrible. But if the allegations weren't true, now we don't know if they are. We've heard nothing about them since then. And he is trying to make his path back. Let's go. Hey, it's 2020, man. We've all been through enough.
Give him a break. If he deserves it.
If he deserves it. These are all if he deserves it. 14 minutes after the hour, we got to get to a break. We got Tom Pelisaro, the man who I believe is plugged directly into Roger Goodell's phone. We'll ask him about the Antonio Brown stuff. Like, what are you hearing about this? Has this been happening? We'll also ask him about the return to play. There is a massive business decision that has to be made between the NFL and the NFLPA over the definite hit that's coming to the salary cap. The NFL wants to just put that into next year. The NFLPA is like, yo, let's roll this thing out over the next 11 years. That seems like smart business, what the NFLPA is offering. I wonder why the NFL would not be for that. Unless teams are thinking about selling their teams within the next 11 years, none of it makes any sense. If you're going to take a loss, you'd rather spread it out over a decade as opposed to in 1 year. This might be just a leverage ploy. We'll ask Tom Pelisaro about all of that. Tom Brady has reported to the Buccaneers training facility this morning, so things are up and rolling. Friend of the show, Clyde Christensen, was walking in there with him, quarterback coach. They are going to be on a mission. Also, Tom Brady drives a truck. Never would have guessed that. We'll talk about all that. And also, Donovan McNabb joining us 11:05 a.m. 11:05. And we might have a special guest at noon on YouTube.
What?
Ooh.
Really?
Yeah, we might. We might. Nobody will ever think that this human would be on our show, too.
Okay.
Look at this. 2020. We've all been through it. You know what I mean? We've all been through it. Let's go ahead and maybe settle our differences, put the pettiness aside. Maybe we'll be a leader of that here at noon. Hasn't been confirmed completely, but potential massive conversation coming in there.
Let's
go.
Yeah.
Okay. Fouch?
In-stewed.
In stew.
In-stewed.
Excuse me.
We're back on the other side as the music dies, so we make Nick's life terrible. This is the Pat McAfee Show.
Fox, come with me. Come with me. A company just gave $80 million in site credit to their users. $80 million. The company was FanDuel Sportsbook. So you would think, we're done. We're good. We don't need to do anything else. Wrong. Thursday, July 23rd, they are giving up to $100 back to their bettors for any bet that settles on Thursday.
Tone Diggs just got cucked by technology. Tone, by the way, walk, talk, promo. It was about to be big news here, and all of a sudden Foxy says, fuck you, turn it off.
It feels good to walk and talk. I mean, you don't have to think, because like if my brain does too much thinking, then I stumble over stuff. So if you're thinking about walking and talking, you're good to go.
Not easy, by the way, to do what you did and lay it all out. Foxy, are we back with it? Well, geez.
Yeah, let's try it again.
All right, let's give it a go. Hey, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, at Tone Diggs with a walk-and talking promo for the best sports book ever, FanDuel. Now, if Foxy lets you finish, I think people are going to be excited to hear the news that you're about to deliver, Tone.
We actually had a whole studio reset. So Zito actually fixed it, but here we go.
We're going to run out of time. You don't fucking play.
Come with me. Come with me. A company just gave $80 million in site credit to their users. $80 million. The company was FanDuel Sportsbook. So you would think, we're done. We're good. We don't need to do anything else. Wrong. Thursday, July 23rd, they are giving up to $100 back to their bettors for any bet that settles on Thursday that you lose. So basically, let me put it this way. If your net losses for the day are $57, you're gonna get $57 back. It doesn't matter if you make one $57 bet or 57 $1 bets and you lose them all. If you lose up to $100, you are going to get that money back. If you win, you win. You're not getting anything back. Let's not get crazy. But if you lose any bet that ends on Thursday, baseball, 2 baseball games, back. We're back, baby. Golf. Anything that ends on Thursday and you lose money on FanDuel up to $100, you're getting that money back. And that is why they're the best website to sports bet, hands down guaranteed.
Hey, Tone, if you were going to do this, what would you do?
What I would do one $100 parlay, as many games as I could get in there, because you know you're getting that $100 back, baby.
Massive refund. $100 in losses will be refunded to you if you bet at FanDuel today. There's a lot. Golf opening round. There's probably some soccer. There's MLB. And like Diggs said, you put a couple parlays down there that could hit for big. You lose up to $100. You get all your money back at FanDuel. That's for all users, not just new users. And shout out to Tone Diggs, walking, talking promo, looking like the next fucking Billy Mays, cuz.
Billy Mays lived a good life right up till the end.
Oh, come on.
He did. Rest in peace, by the way. Rest in peace.
Give us like a curtain call. Maybe
You
there
could, but yeah,
instead
you
of
should have
just
maybe tipped the cap.
trashing Billy Mays.
Thanks, Bill.
You should have felt very good about what you just did there. Not easy to do what you just did right there, Tom.
Well, you know, humble guy.
Unbelievable. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Thursday, July 23rd. We just announced during the commercial break at YouTube that FanDuel today is refunding up to $100 in losses for any bets that get completed or finished today. So there's first round of golf, obviously. There's the MLB tonight. There's soccer. There's a lot of things. You get in there, you bet. This is for all users in all states that are available. Obviously, you have to be of age. You get your money back up to $100 in losses. If you win, you get nothing, but you can lose up to $100 and they will refund it. Just days after, by the way, giving $80 million to their users. Tone Diggs cut an incredible promo. And now, another promo for tonight. Maybe you want to put at least $50 on it. We had a Twitter poll for 24 hours. Which team in tonight's primetime MLB premier debut 60-day game sprint season, you get it, Yankees or Nationals? After 16,000 votes were cast, the Yankees are what the people want to get super boosted. So tonight at FanDuel Sportsbook, the Yankees money line goes from minus 138 to plus 110. All of a sudden, the favorites get underdog odds at FanDuel Sportsbook. And to be honest, everybody in this office wanted the Yankees to win the poll. I'm happy that the humans on the internet agreed with us. Tonight should be a blast.
Yeah, I mean, I was riding at this thing at minus 138 regardless. So to get that extra boost to plus 110, I am very excited about
Remember,
that.
you could max bet on that is $50 because it's a super bet, super boost. If we lose that, by the way, you're getting it back. So let's go. FanDuel, shout out to FanDuel. Big night for sports. Big night for a big man last night. Bull. Okay. Manute Bol's child, who played at Oregon, who was supposed to go in the lottery because he's 7'2", 235 pounds. Manute Bol's kid, he's a generational player, legacy player who's massively tall and everything like that. He didn't get drafted until pick 44 or something like that. Was supposed to be a top 5 pick, didn't get drafted until he's 44. And last night, this tall son of a bitch put on a show. At a double-double, he pulled up from 3. He was all over the place. He gave interviews afterwards in the NBA in classic fashion. Now, yesterday was our first chance to kind of look at what the bubble NBA play was going to look like. I said yesterday, and we talked about it yesterday, from Chris Mannix of Sports Illustrated's video where he showed the court from the bubble, what it was going to look like. It looks like a stage set. There's lights everywhere. There's walls everywhere. You got a lot of things going on, and they have like 20-plus cameras, angles that they don't normally have for TV games. It's going to be a playoff-like atmosphere. And I said, not only are these practice games for the players to get back into it, but also for the production, right? Because the production and the executive producers and directors and all those titles, I don't know what they are, but they're all those people. They have a lot more options now for the coverage of the game. They get a chance to have documentary-like style shots down the sideline. They got a couple shots that zoom in. They got different things. And I believe the production crews were testing that all out yesterday. Big fail in the crowd noise reaction game, which they're going to have to work on. There was a couple chants that came and went. There was a couple chants that started but didn't continue. There was a couple screams at the wrong time, which are trying to kind of control that with, I assume, a lever. There's fans screaming everywhere. There's fake people sitting in the thing. They're trying to make this as good as possible before the actual games get started. But Bol stole the show with his double-double last night at 7'2", 235 pounds, and the NBA, in hilarious fashion, decided to drug test him immediately afterwards. And I am somebody who has the utmost respect, not only for Bol, but also for the NBA saying, you were 44th pick overall. Okay, don't know what you're doing down here. Let's go ahead and get a test. This kid is going to be a stud. And there's going to come a time, I think, here in just a few years where Bol and Taco Fall are going to be playing against each other. And it's going to be Twin Towers underneath battling down there. I'm pumped for it. And I also love the fact that the NBA tried to get his urine immediately after his best performance in the NBA yet.
Yeah, the Nuggets started 3 7-footers yesterday, which was hysterical. And then Bol was the one play, he had a block, and then he ran the break and then pulled up for 3. Tell you what, he might be the best basketball player of all time.
Bol? Now, Minute Bol, there's always incredible stories about his particular setup on his body.
Yep.
What do you mean?
What's that?
What do you mean by that?
Long appendages.
From what I've been told is he had to tie it up at one point, right? I believe is and then there's the picture of him in the pool, and he's just basically takes up an entire Olympic-sized pool. I believe Minute Bol had an 8'6" wingspan, and
wingspan.
Yeah, wingspan.
Oh.
Which, by the way, big wingspan, probably, you know what they say.
Probably packing heat.
He had like an 8'6" wingspan. I believe Taco has an 8'4" wingspan. I think Bol has like a 7'10" wingspan or something like that. So these are very, very long men, okay? Very, very long men. But in game of basketball, if you can dunk just by standing there, you have quite an advantage. Bol might be my new favorite player in the NBA behind Zion, obviously.
Of course.
Zion's my guy. But and Pelicans, by the way, blow the team out without Zion. Maybe the Pelicans are about to get hot and win this whole damn thing, but I wouldn't put it past old Bol getting hot down there as well.
They might be, because also Bol, there's a video of him from practice. He jumps, and he doesn't dunk it, but he basically reaches his arm over and just, like, drops the ball into the net because he's at, like, the top of the backboard by the time he gets up there.
I feel like for those guys, it's like pool basketball.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
You know, like a pool basketball hoop, you know, it can get a little tough in there. It can get a little, you know, it gets dangerous in there, to be honest with you. But if you jump up at all, your head is at like the rim and you feel so cool because you're floating because the water kind of holds you up a little bit and you can do it all. I feel like that's what just regular basketball is like for those guys. That has to be so much fun. That has to be so much fun to be able to do that.
Well, and especially when you're pulling up from, 38 feet for 3, you can take him off the dribble and do that too. I mean, he's a complete player.
You got to remember, Dirk Nowitzki was the first real big guy that used to just step back and hit shots. Then it just kind of became like the norm. Bol 7'2", pulling up from 3, and also potentially going underneath and pool basketball dunking. What a weapon. I assume that they're going to continue to put weight on him because playing underneath, it's going to get a little rough and tough down there. But what a stud. And I love that the NBA drug tested him. Remember, I might have been the first guy that started really like celebrating getting a random drug test after a game because I knew there was zero chance I was going to fail because I didn't even want to take supplements. Like I didn't even want to do any because most of the, and this is kind of, I guess it's kind of ego driven here. Yeah, it is for sure. I didn't want any supplement company to take any credit.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I didn't want anybody to take any credit or even say, like, oh, we're a part of this guy's routine, because I was breaking a lot of records and doing all that. I didn't want anybody to think that they were a part of it other than, me, my strength coaches, my old man, my family, my teammate, and hard work. I didn't want any outside company to think it was. And also, you hear stories about supplement companies potentially getting tainted because supplements that are clean, that don't have anything that gets tested for in professional athletics, a lot of them come from the same factory where stuff that is in there that would test positive are in some supplements. So you hear guys say like, I didn't know I was taking it, and the average fan reaction is like, how did you not know that it was in there? Well, the reason is because a lot of these things come from the same factory. And if you just so happen to get a little bit of powder from another one into that one, there's a chance how you could see that something could pop up in there that you don't know about. So for me, I didn't even take any supplements. Now, did I drink beers?
What?
Yeah. Pizza?
What?
Wings?
What?
And if you looked at my upper body, you say that's an upper body of an adolescent?
What?
Yes, all those things are accurate. So I would always walk into those drug tests. I would kind of walk in there, billionaire strut. I would take my shirt off and say, are you sure you would like to test me? They're like, please give me your urine, sir. I'd pee in there, and then I would take a picture of it and post it because I knew there was no chance of me failing. Now, that was an aggressive decision, obviously, because who knows if said Bud Light that I had the night before might have had a little bit of Adderall in it. Who knows? Because that could happen. But for me, I was very confident I wasn't going to fail a test, so I started putting pictures of it and started putting it out there. And it got to the point for me where it felt as if I had a bad game if I didn't get drug tested the next day. I'm like, oh, they must have not thought I was that good. I mean, I put a kickoff into the stands. I mean, is that not good enough to get drug tested? It became like a gimmick. And then I started realizing that other NFL players were like, yeah, this is happening for me too. They started posting pictures about it. And I was like, okay, that's, by the way, if you fail this test, this is, you're going to get got on the internet here with taking a picture of a test and saying, oh, I got randomly drug tested and you failed a test. For me, I only did it because I knew that there was zero chance. And I assume everybody else that does that. And I would assume that Bo is pretty confident in the fact that his urine's going to come back clean. But the NBA, hey, that's just good ball, baby, from Bo. What do you want from the guy?
Did you get tested multiple times this season?
Oh, yeah. I got tested like 8 times one season. Felt really good, too. I was having a great year. I was like, here we go. Vinatieri, too. Like, Vinny hit like, I forget what it was. It was a long ball. Next day, drug test. And I was like, here we go. Vinny, they're coming after us. Took a picture. And then the next week, like, I think I kicked the onside kick to myself, and then I did something else. I got tested. Vinny hit a long fit. He got tested. It became a real thing where I was like, if I don't get tested, Roger Goodell is slapping me in the face saying that I didn't do anything that impressive. It was unbelievable.
So is it usually a note? It's like, who drops this note off in your locker? Is it your trainer on the Colts, or is it like an NFL representative? That's kind of weird that someone just randomly.
No. So it's a league sport. Clean game sport. Something, I forget the name of it. It is a company, though, and they have people in basically every city that there is professional sports, and they're contracted by the league, okay? So there's the guy that had to piss test me. He and I got along very well. He knew a lot about me, that guy, okay? Because in the NFL, pants have to go to ankles, shirt has to go to at least nipples, and you have to stand and face the guy. There's actually a piece of tape on the ground where you have to stand toe to toe there so he can see you. My guy, he used to turn on water if I was struggling a little bit there, which is very nice of him. But this is the guy that tested me 8 times a month for 27 months. So this guy and I knew a lot about each other, and he was a good guy. Hey, he's doing his job. This is what he gets paid to do. I'm doing my job. I just have to pee in there. Was there some times where I was like, man, you just got me 2 days ago? And he was like, I know, but it's not him deciding when I get tested. He was the same guy. And what they had is a piece of paper. I posted the picture a lot of times. It was like basically fill in name here. Hey, dear, insert name here. You have been randomly selected on this day. Please go report. You have 4 hours to take the test or whatever. And then they would just tape it on your locker. Yeah. So you could literally walk around the locker room and be like, oh, that guy had a good game. Okay, that guy had a good game. That guy's getting a game ball. That guy's probably getting a game ball. That guy's probably getting a game ball. It's just a piece of paper that was taped on your thing. And then there was a couple guys that came to our team that had it on there. I'm like, that guy's not going to be on our team. He's going to get suspended for sure. The annual drug test each year, which was for street drugs, that was during, they had it from April 20th, 4/20, hilarious. Funny joke, Roger. All the way to the end of the first week of training camp. And that was for street drugs. So that was a marijuana test, basically. That's all that was. And we knew when it was coming because they announced, like, hey, this is when the test is coming. And once you took it one time, you never got tested again for the rest of the year. So it's almost like an intelligence test as much as it is a drug test, right? So everybody knew that I indulge in vitamins, obviously. Everybody knew. And every time my name would come up on the list, there was always like I get like a look from a couple of the coaches. You know, like Chuck Pagano would look back and be like, are we good this year? Or? yeah, we're good, man. I've been good. And he's like, okay, good news. All right, here we go. It was always like, and when the names were announced for the annual drug test, it was always in front of the entire team. It was the athletic trainer, the doctor right off the list. And they'd go through the entire thing and it'd be like, Mathis, McAfee. Like everybody would have like, I'm like, hey! Here we go. Thank you. And then there would be a couple of times where like my special teams coach would look and be like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, don't worry about me." He was like, "You were just telling me stories about like 3 weeks ago." I was like, "Yeah, but I'm not as fat as I was last year. I'm good." Like, all right, sounds
3
good.
weeks ago.
But the move for other NFL athletes that are currently watching and maybe younger and haven't done this process is now the initial thought is as soon as you pee in that cup, okay, you get in your car, you go home. You find the biggest bong you can find if you're a vitamin taker and just go ahead because you've probably been off it for 3 weeks, 4 weeks or whatever. That is not the right move though, because if they take it and they say, oh, it's it's too diluted because you're too hydrated, they can make you take the test the next day. And I've seen some guys go home, victory lap, come in the next day, and oh boy, right, you got to take it again because it was too diluted. And by the way, I did that same thing until I saw one of my friends I was a part of the victory lap celebration with said person. And then next morning I walk in and his face is just like, I'm screwed. And I was like, what happened? They're like, well, it's too diluted. They said I was too hydrated. I got tested again. I'm like, oh, so that could have happened to me too. Thank God I was dehydrated and had a bunch of beer. You know, it's just like a very interesting thing. So let's hope Bol passed that test, obviously. Yeah. Need to see his electricity on the court because I'm just learning about him and I love the man. Anybody that's 7'2" and can pull up from outside. Andrew name's Bol, and I am a big fan of that double-double. Let's get to a break. Tom Pelisaro of the NFL Network will join us. This guy has had all the scoopsies. All of the scoopsies. Maybe answer some phone calls from randoms here during the break at youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. The drug testing world in professional sports is insane, though. It's insane. The amount of people who have watched my baby maker spew urine. Next level. I will say, I never got the stage fright. I was always able to perform. I was always able to perform.
Always well hydrated.
And there was one, I do drink a lot of water, but there was one particular guy. He was a new testy guy. And I don't know if he was a fan of mine or what it was. But he was obviously very, very nervous. Son of a bitch spilled my sample.
Oh, jeez.
His hands were shaking so bad, he spilled my sample because you take it from the big thing that I'm aiming into, you know, like a spaceship coming down in the ocean. Yep. I'm aiming in there. And then his job is to pour it into a sample A and then pour into sample B. Those things are sealed shut, put into a sealed shut thing. I have to sign it, he has to sign it, and then it's mailed off. This guy tried to go into sample A, shook his hand so much, spilled all over the thing.
Whose fault is that? Like you have to pee again?
Yeah, I had to pee again. I had 67 minutes I had to pee again or whatever.
What?
Because my 4-hour window or whatever. And he was like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, are you going to tell people that you just... So I took a picture, obviously, of it. And I'm like, so if I can't replenish here in 67 minutes, we're going to be in trouble. He was like, oh, I'll be able to make some calls, but your window does end in an hour and 7 minutes or whatever. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So I obviously went and bonged a Pedialyte. Nice. Just cut the bottom out of it, open the top. Give me that thing.
Can we blame the NFL for your bladder? Like, because your ability to pee a lot?
I had to pee a lot. But by the way, I came back like 15 minutes later. Just knocked it out. And I like, as the guy was pouring it into the thing, I was like, hey, no hurries, no worries here, fella. Let's make sure we get the urine in the thing because I'm not sure we can fill up the tank again. He's like, I got you, sir. And then again, I'm like, here we go again. Here we go again. And he obviously spilled some, but we got up to the amount that we needed. And sample B, by the way, if something was wrong with sample A, we did not have enough in sample B. That was actually probably a failed test now that I think back about it. But that's the only negative experience I've had during the entire testing.
It's amazing when, like, for 10 plus years you're showering in front of 50 plus dudes every single day that your brain just doesn't even care anymore what you're doing naked in front of people.
Yeah. How many people you tested today? Where do I? Am I in the... No. 37 minutes after the hour, we got to get to a break. Tom Pelisaro joins us on the other side with NFL News. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Thursday, July 23rd. Let me tell you a little story about these statistics. Troy Polamalu, okay? Fucking Troy Polamalu. So we had a fake for the Pittsburgh Steelers that was a 100%er. We didn't even have a cancel the goddamn play because it was a 100%er. If we ever end up in this situation, inside the 7-yard line on the left hash, it is a 100%er that the C gap will be wide open and we will just part the C to the left. It'll be a touchdown. 100%er. We're playing in Pittsburgh, the city I grew up in. I grew up in Pittsburgh. I won the punt, pass, and kick. National championship, AJ. National championship, AJ.
Congrats.
AJ, did you ever win the national championship, punt, pass, and kick?
I think I got 3rd or 4th out of 4 at the Nationals.
I'm proud of you, man. Anyways, so we're there in that stadium, okay? A lot of McAfee's in there. A lot of McAfee's in Pittsburgh. I'm going to score my first fucking touchdown, night game, Sunday Night Football, I believe it was, right here, touchdown. We get into that situation, and I'm like, holy fuck, this is really going to happen. We're like on the 6 on the left hash. It's 4th and goal now. Field goal team's jogging on. I'm like, well, fuck, it's about to, I'm ready. I am ready for this to happen. So I get out there. I get down. Vinny's like happy for me. Vinny's like very excited. He's like, let's fucking go. Like Vinny's excited for me at this moment. I'm like, here we go. So I make the call. I forget what it was. So I start saying it, right? And everybody's looking at me like, okay, bright eyes. Here we go. Let's get after it. Offensive linemen are dead ass tired. They do not want to be in the middle of a field goal anyways. So they're just like, all right, I don't give a fuck if you die here, but this should work. Let's get some points. And all of a sudden, I go through my cadence, I call it, I get down, and Troy Polamalu's fucking ass goes ahead for however long his career was at this point. I think it was like 9 years or 8 years at this point. Not a once has he ever gone to this side of the field over here to the left and stood right in the C gap. Never. He lined up exactly where he had lined in film 100% of the time. And then as soon as I got to like the second cadence right before set, he just bounced his little ass right over to the C gap. And I like stopped everything I was doing and I literally just looked at him. And I gave him like a, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, why are you there right now? And then I stood up and said, we are kicking it. We don't have it. We have to kick it. We are kicking this. And then I get down, and Vinatieri kicks it, and I jog off the field, and Chuck Pagano comes running up next to me. He's like, hey, good job. What you see? I said, what did I see? Polamalu just fucking went right into the goddamn C gap. What did I see? What did I see? And he goes, okay, sounds good. Good call then. And good call then. And then Vinatieri's like, hey, way to go, buddy. I'm like, way to go? Are we not going to talk about how big of a fucking asshole Troy Polamalu is for what just happened right there? So that's.
I saw the angel of death waiting for me in the C gap.
It's unbelievable. What, you thought I was going to run him over? No way. He's probably going to strip me and score a touchdown the other fucking. That's Polamalu, bro. That ain't just your backyard football with your son. These are professional fucking athletes. He'd probably jump over the lineman, pick me up, and run me into the other fucking end zone if he wanted to. That's what he would have done.
The hard-hitting safety of his generation, too. I mean, Ed Reid, great cover safety. I don't know that you would have feared him, but
Ed Reid, I would have feared Ed Reid. Yeah, if I saw Ed Reid in that C gap, absolutely. Reid, boy, the best safety you ever seen, boy. I ain't doing shit to Ed Reid.
No, Ed Reid would have made the tackle. I'm saying that Polamalu would have shaved years off your life.
Oh, my God. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here, Thursday, July 23rd. We are being joined now by a man who might look like he's 12, but he's working as if he's been in the business for 75 years. NFL Network and NFL.com reporter. Ladies and gentlemen, you can find him on Twitter and Instagram, I believe, at Tom Pelisaro. Tom Pelisaro.
What's up, boys?
Tom, great to chat with you. You've been crushing it right now.
I probably look like I've been crushed. I didn't remember this was a video interview, so I literally got back from the gym 3 minutes ago.
Yeah. That boy, Tom.
We got to keep it going.
Hey, I can respect that. I like that you're fitting in some time to get the gains in, because what you've been doing on the internet with breaking news, I said this on the show the other day. All the information that's coming from the NFL side of things when it comes to the proposals and the negotiations to get back into play have been coming through Tom Pelisaro. Tom, are you and Roger Goodell attached at the hip through this entire process? Or how are you getting all this incredible information right now?
What's fascinating about this is the first time that I can remember in terms of any big issue in the NFL where the teams are the last people to know. You have, going back months, conversations between the medical officials, Dr. Alan Sills with the NFL, Dr. Tom Mayer with the NFL Players Association. They've contracted with outside experts, the people at Duke. You have all these people involved. So football ops, which normally is the driving force behind anything like a schedule change to training camp or preseason games, they would be the ones driving, communicating with the clubs. Well, they've kind of been having to defer to the medical people. And so there have been a number of times in recent weeks where I've tweeted something and I've had, whether it's general managers, head coaches, whatever, calling me and saying, really? Like that was in the proposal? Like the one last week, I think it was, when the NFL took that initial proposal where it was going to be a 35% escrow of player salaries this year, which would have added up to $1.28 billion. The players said, no, we're not doing that. So the NFL came back and said, hey, what if we say you can cut $40 million from the salary cap and benefits, which if you calculate that out, the players share, that is also $1.28 billion you'd give back this year. So I tweet that, $40 million, and 6 general managers, I'm not kidding, that night called me to say, how could we do that? I said, I figured they asked you. No, there's a general manager's advisory committee. There's the CEC working group. There are these groups of GMs and team executives who are supposed to be involved in these decisions, but it's a negotiation. There are bargaining chips involved. And some of these proposals that the league continues to make about changing the cap number in 2020 at this late stage, it's not just a concern for the players. It's a concern for the people whose job it is to find the players and put their team together, because the rosters here on July 23rd are pretty much set.
Let's talk about the money thing, because it feels like the infectious disease emergency response plans have been okayed by just about everybody, which a lot of the players talked about as one of their main concerns. It's like, hey, we're in the middle of a pandemic. We want to know what the response is going to be. Are players going to be able to go on IR? Is it a football injury? All that's getting settled. But now we're getting into what is the real problem in this entire thing, and that's the financials of it all. It is being alleged, I think, via your account and a lot of other people, that the NFL wants to make back or take the hit next year, where the NFLPA wants to kind of spread it across the 11 years of the new CBA. As a business person, wouldn't you want to rather have your losses be spread out over a decade as opposed to in 1 year? Why is this even a talking point? I feel like everybody who has a brain would be on the NFLPA side of this. And unless an NFL owner is looking to sell his team within the next 5 years, why would they not want to do that? Is that a real thing, or is this just a bargaining thing to try to get the business settled as quickly as possible for the return to play?
Well, it's definitely real. And let's start with this. So the NFL and the NFLPA since 2011 have had a revenue sharing agreement. It is, unlike the previous systems, which were cap credits, this is straight up revenue sharing. The players get 47 or 48 cents on every dollar. So if you have what right now is projected as a $4 billion revenue shortfall this year, players are responsible for about $1.9 billion of it. In other words, if they change nothing this year, then there is about $1.9 billion in player costs, meaning salary cap, as well as benefits that are going to the players that technically, if you did the true-up mechanism, meaning where at the end of every year, because the cap is based upon projections of the following year's revenue, there's never been a multi-billion-dollar shortfall. But if there were, and if you did nothing, if you did not cut a deal, what would happen is that true-up would kick in next February or March, and the salary cap would drop about $50, $60, $70 million per club, because if you divide that $1.8 billion revenue lost by 32 teams, benefits is also part of that. Salary cap is most of it. The salary cap would plummet. That is not in anybody's interest. So in terms of why the owners want to get back the money now, there's a couple of factors involved. One being, again, that's $50, $60, $70 million of revenue that is out of your pocket that would be yours right now. In terms of actually running your business, if you looked at the Packers' revenue numbers and their profit numbers last year, that would be a sizable chunk of it. That would be out of your pocket now. NFL teams don't want to take debt onto their franchises right now. Their argument is put some money back in our pockets one way or another at this stage. If you do nothing, the other thing that could happen, let's say the NFLPA doesn't cut a deal. They say, you know what? We're fine with that entire thing hitting the cap in 2021. Veterans are still going to get cut now. Why? Because teams are going to want to pocket cash. Yeah. There are some teams that aren't going to care. They're going to say, we're going to play to win here. We're maxed out on our salary cap as it is. We're still going to play. We're still going to keep everybody on the roster. There's other teams going, that veteran who might be making $12 million, non-guaranteed, we're moving on from after the season anyway. This might be a way for us in terms of our budgeting as well as our cash flow to say, you know what, we're going to cut ties now. We're going to go younger, or we're going to ask 10 guys on our team to all take a pay cut. Hey, you got $10 million non-guaranteed this year. We don't even know if we're playing all the games this year. You might lose the prorated portion of that money. We'll guarantee you $1 million now if you could take a cut down to $5 million. And that potentially could take place across the league. So there are multiple stakeholders, obviously, in this between the players, the owners, the league. Nobody wants just everything to hit next year, but the discrepancy, to your point, Pat, is the union wants this to be spread out between 2022 and 2030. They want to leave status quo in 2020. This is on their early proposals. 2021, peg the same salary cap that you have this year, and then spread it out over those next 9 years. Owners could collect interest on that money that isn't being paid back sooner, but it's basically a $2 billion loan to the players that they would pay off over a decade. The NFL wants to get a large chunk of that back right now.
Tom, listen, I just listened to you talk about a lot of finances and business stuff in fantastic fashion, by the way. That is not easy to do what you just did.
You wouldn't know that I gave up on the finance major at Boston College after one session of one econ class and transferred to communications, would you?
Well, hey, the fact you got into Boston College tells me you got a big-ass brain. I was never even considered by the Eagles up there. And congrats on the stadium being named after you, by the way, up there at Boston College. Congratulations. Alumni Field. Everything you just said right there kind of gets me a little bit worried, okay? Because we see Tom Brady going back into the training facility today. We hear about the rollout plans getting back. Players are being told if you don't report, there's going to be consequences because they figured out the emergency response plan and dealing with COVID. And who knows how the inside of facilities are going to look in comparison to what years past it looked like. I assume it's going to be insane. And a lot of the rules contradict each other, but they're trying to do the best they can in the guidelines. From the business side of it, though, from what you're hearing, you can say right now, 100% certainty that the season's going to happen. No problem at all. Let's go. Let's go ahead and have a full season. Let's get it going. Let's get it popping off. You can say that, yeah?
If the past 4 months have taught me anything, it's that nothing is certain in this world.
Tom, just
I would say
it.
From strictly a labor perspective. All right, short version of the answer, Article 3 of the collective bargaining agreement is a no strike, no lockout clause. You can't lock out the players and tell them you can't come to work. The players can't walk off the job. The only recourse from the players' side
say no more,
would
Tom.
be
Hey, say that, boys. Way to go, Tom.
The only recourse from the players' side would be if they go in and team reps and players are reporting that the protocols aren't being followed, teams are cheating on the temperature checks or the testing, or this is you could grieve. You could file an expedited grievance for unsafe working conditions and try to get an arbitrator to shut it down until things get fixed. From the owner's side, the only thing that would be possible would be, do you just say we don't want anybody on the field until the finances are worked out? Remember, they have not yet agreed to what the camp plan is. The NFLPA wants a longer ramp-up period. They want 3 weeks of strength and conditioning before you even move into unpadded OTA-type practices. The NFL's plan is like 5 days or 6 days of strength and conditioning plus walkthroughs before you move into the on-field stuff. So there's definitely still some gray area here in terms of exactly how this plays out. The league has long pushed to have an economic deal in place prior to players hitting the field. The union, to this point, has not had that same level of urgency, in part because it's July 23rd, it's not August 23rd or September 13th, and with the way that this entire public health situation is evolving, they may have a better idea about, can you have fans in the stands? What might the revenue losses be a month from now or 6 weeks from now than you do right at this point?
We currently have 53 days until season is supposed to start, 48 days from when training camp is supposed to start July 28th with that whole thing to get figured out. Let's hope they do that, especially in the world that we're living in. Nobody wants to hear a business dispute, especially with all the world that we're currently in. But, hey, that's business, baby. Now, we have about 45 seconds until the radio ends here, first hour. So if we get cut off in the middle of that for the radio listeners, we will continue the conversation at youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show with @Tom Pelisaro, who is an incredible insider in this entire thing. And let's talk about your inside sources here. Antonio Brown. Okay, Antonio Brown has been a player. What a face there. What a face by Tom Pelisaro. Antonio Brown went from being a 6th-round draft pick to, by a lot of people's accounts, best wide receiver in all of football, okay? Also best punt returner in football if he wants to be. That's just the way it goes. Incredibly talented guy. Forced his way out of Pittsburgh because of disagreements and relationships, and out of Oakland. And then obviously allegations arise whenever he was with the Patriots after having 7 catches and a touchdown. He leaves, says some things about Robert Kraft, seems to hit rock bottom. Now he's, what we all believe, is on a way back. He met with Dion. He has a therapist, and then he put out a report last night on Instagram about how he just wants the NFL to tell him what his punishment's going to be, what his suspension's going to be. He said he's been investigated for 11 months. Now, this comes 2 days after a lot of people said he was alluding to retirement again, but it feels like he wants to play. And if all of this is accurate in what he posted here about how he's given him all his phones, he's met with a therapist, he's done everything he wants, he just wants to know an answer on how long he'll be suspended, if he'll be suspended for everything that's happened. Is this what you're hearing from the NFL side of things? Can we say that what Antonio Brown wrote here is accurate? And do you see an ending or an outcome in this investigation for the Antonio Brown case happening soon?
I'll tell you this. One of the complications is the fact that there is still a civil suit in the state of Florida by a woman who has accused Antonio Brown of sexual harassment, sexual assault. He obviously already
Which is
wrapped
terrible,
up
by the way,
and reached a deal on the felony case. Okay, so I think that it seems as if Antonio Brown thought once the deal was reached on the felony case, then that would cause things to ramp up in terms of the NFL being able to wrap up its investigations, because one of their core tenets has always been, we're going to let the court process play out before we get involved. In other words, if somebody is facing a serious charge, they're going to wait till the investigation's done. They're going to wait till the legal system takes action, and then the NFL will rule. That doesn't mean they couldn't keep Antonio Brown or somebody else off the field through the commissioner's exempt list in the short term, which has been one of the concerns. Part of why Antonio Brown didn't get signed last year was if he got signed, based on the nature of the allegations, the personal conduct policy would suggest the league could have just said, even though we're not suspending him, we're keeping him off the field. So this civil suit that continues to play out in the state of Florida, there was actually a mediation that was scheduled last Friday, then it got canceled. In other words, he got close to this being resolved, then it wasn't. And I will just tell you this, from the teams I have spoken to, that is the biggest concern, is the allegations in that civil suit. It is about what might come out if that goes to trial, which, according to the people I've spoken to, the attorneys for the woman continue to prepare as if that is going to go to trial. On top of, with Antonio Brown, you got 2 main questions. Besides, again, the very serious allegations, you have reliability and what's he going to put on social media. Well, in the past 3 days, he has put, I'm retiring, for at least by my count the 3rd time on Twitter. He had also made previous statements about that back last August with the Raiders. Did he retire over the helmet? But last September, last November, and now this past week, he has said, I'm done. And then every time he comes back a couple days later, unretires. And once again last night is putting it on the NFL that, hey, I want the decision now. Well, it's difficult in the experiences that a lot of players have had with the league. Ezekiel Elliott being one recent case where his case dragged on and his attorneys were getting frustrated. Why are they not ruling? Eventually they did, and he got a 6-game suspension. With Antonio Brown, because you have a civil case involved, it's a little bit more complicated, and those are the allegations that, from what I understand, has been the biggest concern for teams about, we signed this guy, and not only do we not know, is he going to unretire tomorrow? Is he going to take shots on social media? Is he going to, with the Patriots, send threatening messages to somebody that all of a sudden become public? It's all that, but also if all of a sudden some really untoward things were to come out at trial, how would that make the team look?
Completely understandable. Thanks for breaking that down for us. I'm intrigued to see how that all plays out. Obviously, terrible allegations. If he ends up being innocent, or that gets settled and figured out and everybody feels as if justice was served, I'm excited to see if he can get a chance, 3rd, 4th chance back in the league to kind of prove himself as the great that he is. And obviously, if it ends up the other way, I hope justice is served. Tom, we can't thank you enough for joining us. What an incredible brain. The 12-year-old who just got out of the gym, who knows everything. Follow him at Tom Pelisaro. Tom Pelisaro.
I will shower now. next time. I promise.
No, you can't even tell, by the way. You look like you're TV ready right now, honestly.
I don't have the guns out, though. Next time, maybe I'll cut off the shirt for you.
Ooh, Tommy.
Tom.
You want to go? You want to?
BC Eagles, baby.
Tom, you don't want that. Tom, you don't want that. Okay.
I don't want any part of this. You're absolutely right. I want no part of this.
Hey, thank you for joining us, man. You're awesome.
You got it anytime, buddy.
Cheers. That was incredible. Great information.
Wealth of knowledge.
1.8 billion or something like that is like, well, they're going to lay this out. This is exactly what Manfred did, by the way. They were like, well, how about this then? Well, fucking how about this one then? It's like they're kind of doing the same thing. But the revenue share is a real deal because you're in business together now. So if somebody loses money, you're both going to lose money. I think everybody will end up, I think they'll defer it probably, if not 9 years or whatever, probably 5 years, 6 years they'll do that. But it's definitely going to affect some players. And then the Antonio Brown, I did not know that there was a civil suit case still going on. I saw that there was a potential resolution to that last week and it got canceled. But, I mean, there's a lot that goes into that. And Roger Goodell, by the way, if he makes the wrong decision,
not good.
Just like Ray Rice thing, that thing blew up in his face. That's tough stuff.
Yeah.
Good morning, beautiful people. It is Thursday, July 23rd, 2020. Today is the day that a major league sport in one of the four major sports in the United States is officially back tonight. The MLB in prime time, Yankees at Nationals, 7 o'clock. And right now on FanDuel, if you're in a state that can gamble legally, online and of age, there is a super boost for the New York Yankees to win tonight from minus 138, where they were the favorites taking on the Nationals in D.C., to plus 110, which is an underdog odd. And also on FanDuel today, they are giving $100 refunds to anybody that loses up to $100. If you win, take your money. If you lose up to $100, you'll get a refund. They gave $80 million to players just the other day. Now they're refunding up to $100. The Super Boost has a max of $50 at plus 110. Go ahead and put $50 on that, and then put in a $50 parlay with maybe 45 different bets, because you're going to get the money back if you lose anyways. What a day in our country's history when we thought COVID-19 was going to wipe out everything. And when we thought Rob Manfred was going to potentially put his foot in his mouth so much he wouldn't have a tongue or teeth to talk anymore, they get it done. 60 game season starts tonight. Yankees, Nationals. Tony Foch, who sounded like he's maybe on a warpath against sports for a while, will be throwing out the opening pitch. Ty Schmidt, diehard Yankees fan, big baseball guy. What should we look forward to tonight? Aside from the watch along at youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show with all of us, AJ Hawk, and some super special guests, what are you looking forward to this evening?
Very excited to see Garrett Cole pitch. He's making his first start for the Yankees. They just gave him a boatload of money. He was with the Astros last year. Aaron Judge is back in the lineup. He's been banged up for a while now, but he's fully healthy. Nationals coming off a World Series win. It's going to be a very good game. We just got to hope that the thunderstorms stay at bay.
Yeah, let's not even mention that. You know, you can potentially speak something into existence. I've lived by that my entire life, because whenever you put something out there, now you have the pressure to make it happen. When you're dealing with the Doppler and when you're dealing with weather, it's kind of hard to speak something into existence. But here we are. Clear skies in D.C. tonight for the Yankees-Nationals game. Am I a big baseball guy? Of course I am. I was a professional baseball player for a night. Of course I am. Look at this. I got a bat mug.
Look at that thing.
Bat mug. I'm not sure I'd ever put anything in that because it is wood, but it is a very cool looking piece here. Also sitting right next to the Chelsea Christian Pulisic little trophy here, who, by the way, greatest soccer player on planet Earth. Doesn't start for Chelsea yesterday against the champion Liverpool squad. You never walk alone. Then all of a sudden, down 4-0, they put the American hero on the pitch, and within 153 seconds, he slices and dices 4 champion Premier League players, gets an assist, bang, 4-1. Then they score another one. Then he scores one. 4-3. Here we go. Chelsea Pulisic gets into the game for Chelsea yesterday against Liverpool and starts hitting the CPR machine. Staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive. That's how you do CPR, by the way. I learned that in an airport on a dummy that was hanging off the wall with a machine, and it gave me a perfect 100 for my CPR score.
Wow.
I don't know if you're supposed to stop pumping or pushing on that long but it'd be tough not to do that. That's what Christian Pulisic did to Chelsea yesterday. And the fact that Frank Lampard won't start him, I know it's an American bias, okay? I've been to Heathrow Airport. I've seen the customs where for every other country on earth going to England, it is an express lane to get through. It's like 50, 60 wide. And for Americans going in England, it's a single file line. And I know this is because of 1776, but I want to let you know that we weren't the only ones to do that to you. The sun never set on the English Empire, and then it all set on the English Empire. And then we're not the only ones, Frank Lampard. Put the kid in the game from jump, they probably win 10-4.
I'm not positive, but shout out to you, and I think you just set a world record for certifying almost 15,000 people in CPR just now.
At least.
You're all certified.
Congratulations.
Go be lifeguards.
You're welcome.
I think I had to pay like $1.50 to do that at the airport whenever I did it, and I got a perfect score. Now, granted, I can't teach you the touch because it is a little touch. You can go too hard and break the rib cage. You can go too soft and not touch the heart. It's like that happy medium. But if you start singing and dancing, you'll get there. But shout out to Christian Pulisic. All the boys are here. Add Nick Moraldo. Hockey, what's hockey doing? Anything? Is hockey? MLB's kind of still on the show here. Hockey has been kind of sitting behind the scenes, okay? They've been kind of laying back. And every once in a while, they'll just release incredible information. Then they'll bounce back. Then they don't let anything come out, and then they come out and boom, incredible information. Today is supposed to be one of those days for the NHL.
Today's a big day. They're going to unveil what's going on inside the bubble, how the players will be living, their facilities, the riches and entertainment they've set up for them. I don't have high hopes, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, and the NHL players have said, hey, we don't need anything. Give us ice and bed. We good.
Yeah.
Exactly. They've set up BMO Field, which is Toronto FC of the MLS's stadium, to be a rec area for the players. Nice. Somewhat of a yard, if you will, if you were to be in a prison.
Oh, I was in jail. I was in solitary confinement. I didn't get a chance to go to the yard. But I've heard that is awesome. Excited to hear what the NHL does. And also new team debuting today, I believe. The Seattle Hockey Squad will be debuting their new name. At Tone Diggs is here as well. Ty Schmidt, Jason McAfee, Viva Lazito, at Evan Foxy, and on the phones 1-833-622-3331 at Boston Connor. Joining us now is a man who's a 6-time Pro Bowler. His number's retired for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's an Eagles Hall of Famer, and he once signed a 12-year, $115 million deal with Andy Reid at the helm. Ladies and gentlemen, Donovan McNabb. Yeah.
It wasn't 500 and something million, but I'll take 100. So I'll take that.
Hey, as you should. That is not a bad deal. Hey, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's talk about that. Whenever you and your agent and the Eagles were talking about potentially that long-term deal, how'd the conversation go? I would assume that you were excited for $115 million, just like Patrick Mahomes was excited to hear the $500 million deal. But there's a lot of people that are like, oh, that's a bad deal for the player. It's a bad deal for the player. If I'm signing for $100 million, I feel like that's a good deal, and I might be wrong in there.
Well, you got to remember at a time in which I played, Drew Bledsoe and I think Brett Favre were the only two at that particular time who signed a $100 million deal. So as we were kind of discussing contract, the information was sent to me not about the actual money. It was more of the years. And as you can see what Dak Prescott is going through at this particular time, you don't really want to extend your contract because then you'll miss out the boat on really actually getting big money. And so that's why you see Dak Prescott going for a 4-year. And at that particular time, remember in 99 when I was drafted, there were a lot of 7-year contracts that were given out to a lot of guys. So I was fortunate enough in my 4th year to re-up and redo my deal, which extended me into that 12-year deal. Because, with the money and all, it was great. But they wanted to lock you in so that they don't have to worry about me getting to the 7th or 6th year of my contract. And all of a sudden that 115 goes to 145 because we've made it to so many NFC championships at that particular time. So it was smart business-wise for the Philadelphia Eagles. But also, as far as my agent was concerned, he was able to grind out and pull out as much money as we could, which led to me, obviously, getting through that deal and then getting another extension. So I can't complain by any means of what's going on.
Yeah, by the way, that team was dominant to watch over there in Philadelphia. And let's not even talk about that chunky soup money. Hey, that chunky soup.
I mean, everybody got to eat something.
That was awesome. You and your mom, obviously, it's a very memorable commercial and brand, and the business behind Donovan McNabb was an awesome one, and the way you played was so cool as well. I mean,
Thank you.
You were an awesome player to watch, man. You legitimately were an awesome player to watch. What do you do now? Are you still around the game, coaching, analyst, obviously? What is Donovan McNabb up to nowadays?
Still doing some analytical work with a few networks. Do a few call-ins during the season just to kind of keep me busy. Also doing some quarterback training out here in Phoenix, Arizona. So still trying to help the youth and stay involved in the game and try to prepare them for what life presents to them as they continue to get older. I'm also coaching girls AAU basketball. So my daughter's involved, oldest daughter's in basketball at this particular time. She's a high schooler going into her junior year. I have twins that are 11 that are involved in sports. So dad is playing the daddy role and being Keanu Reeves in Speed. I'm the bus driver, driving them to each and every sports event, and then picking up lunch and then picking up dinner. So it's exciting time, man. When you're retired, I think my plan was already set. I wanted to go into media. I wanted to be that best dad, supportive. I got into coaching. I got into coaching training. And then just trying to be a dad to a bunch of girls on my girls basketball team, and the same with some of these kids. So it's exciting, man. This is what retirement is all about.
Hell yeah, giving back to the world. And we learned yesterday you live in Urlacher's community. Go say hello to him, everyone.
No. Urlacher lives in my community.
Thank you. Yes.
He just so happened to have the yellow jacket right now.
Oh my God. Let's talk about Andy Reid. Let's talk about Yellow Jackets. There's a guy who, after winning, now you guys were so good, but there was a lot of good teams back then. NFC Championship is nothing to sneeze at. I made the AFC Championship game twice, once my rookie year, then another time we lost by 50. We got boat race. It's not easy. Everybody's like, well, you didn't. It's not easy at all. And you got to get lucky, too, with injuries. Yeah. There's a lot of luck that plays in that entire thing. And that's why the Patriots, what they've been able to do for the last 20 years is so stupid because of how impossible it is. I think people forget that. But let's talk about Andy Reid.
I agree.
He wins the Super Bowl. He has Patrick Mahomes now for the next 12 years. What do you think life is like for Andy Reid now? Do you think that not winning a Super Bowl sat on him do you think he ever thought about that? Or is he just the type of guy that's like, you know what? We'll just keep it going, trust the process, let's keep it moving?
Well, you know what? Andy and I still talk, frequently, and it sits on you. I mean, no matter what people say, I mean, I think of 03, 04 when we made it, it still bothers me. Of just a few throws in that game would have changed my life. And maybe I would have had the yellow jacket on at this particular point right now. But I look at it in the sense for Andy, it's the process. 1999 was his first head coaching job coming from Green Bay. And the way that we turned that organization around over a decade says a lot about not only the players, but it starts with the head coach. You know, being a player's coach, having an offensive mind, bringing in the right defensive coordinators and the defensive coaches. Our coaching tree is sick. When you think about what we had throughout my duration, you had John Harbaugh, who's the head coach of Baltimore Ravens. You had Sean McDermott, who was a quality control guy. He's the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. You had Ron Rivera, who was our linebacker coach, who is the head coach of the Washington Redskins. Yeah, Leslie Frazier, who was once a head coach in Minnesota, who's a defensive coordinator now in the NFL. You had, the list, Marty Mortonwig. You had Brad Childress, who was the head coach at that particular time. You had David Culley, who's an offensive coordinator now, who was the receiver coach with us at that particular time. I mean, the list goes on. Steve Spagnuolo, who's the defensive coordinator with him in Kansas City, was with us. So we had a tree of coaches that were still young at that particular time trying to make a mark for themselves, have now all flourished to become great coaches and great mentors. So what Andy has done, it isn't just bringing in big names that have already been established. It was starting guys out low. So when we continue to develop together, all of a sudden, you look back on the 90s in general. I'll say the 2000s, the mid-2000s. I mean, it was only three great teams at that particular point that were consistent. It was us, it was Indy, and it was New England. So however you want to spill it out from head coaches to quarterbacks, I mean, the list goes on. So I'm just excited for Andy at this time. He gave me the opportunity to speak to the team that Thursday before the Super Bowl, and I was just real with him of just how life changes for you just in a matter of seconds, if you win or if you lose this Super Bowl game. And, I remember talking to Damian Williams after the game, and he was just basically like, we won this for you, man. Like, I know how it hurt you, but I'm just privileged to say we won this for you.
So what was your? I didn't know you spoke to them on Thursday. That's a big deal. Like the people that come speak to the team Super Bowl week, that is a massive deal. Did you prepare for that? Did you spit from the hip? How long did you talk? Was it at dinner? Was it a team meeting? I want to learn a little bit about this.
Well, this was.
Did you have slides?
Did you
have slides? Did you have slides up? Or are you like, hey, here we go?
No. I'm not getting all hey, here's what I did back in 2000. You know what? It was just spitting from the hip, man, and just being real. Because I mean, we're all grown adults, Pat. You know that. I mean, don't give me the run around to try to give me the old I'm gonna get you hype speech. I was just real. I told them how we were in 2003, how we were in 2004, and that year leading to the Super Bowl and then getting to the game. But I just came down and just told them, listen, life sucks when you lose the Super Bowl.
Oh.
Just being real. It's just when you leave that game for years. Now think about it. It's 15 years for me, and I still remember some plays that I could have made in that game to change it. And I told him, I said, you don't want to be on that side of it. You want to be on the side of it where you can reflect and smile and enjoy, look at your ring. Your wife has a ring. Your kids are reflecting back on that particular game. 15 years, I'm still trying to figure out why I did something or why this happened, because it would have been different. And man, just looking back on it, man, just how that game went for 3.5 quarters, to be honest with you, I'm thinking, oh man, I'm about to be 0-1 in my Super Bowl speeches. This sucks. But then they won it, so now I'm coming out as victorious as you could be as a speaker, man.
And I'll tell you this, you're 100% right. My rookie year, we lost the Super Bowl to Drew Brees and his dumb baby up there on that Jumbotron. And when I walked into that locker room, okay, I was too young. I didn't know what I didn't know. I had no idea. And I was like, we got Peyton, we still got Reg, we got all these guys. Guys, we'll be back next year, man. We didn't lose. Right. We didn't lose until we chose to lose. Literally, we won 14-0, and then we chose to lose, and then we were in the lead here. And I walked in that locker room. I still, to this day, have never walked into a more depressed place than that. And then I think Peyton left the country for a couple months. Like it was a massive ordeal, which is very hard to get over the hump. And you're 100% right in that. Can we talk about the environment that was the Philadelphia Eagles, though? Anytime you're a dominant team, you're going to have a spotlight on you. And there always seem like, and this is pre-social media, and I guess social media drums up drama a lot more than anything else, but your guys' locker room was a topic of conversation at all times. I mean, it literally was. Was that all overblown, you think? Or was it an accurate thing? Because distractions can be the death of a team, and it feels like you guys were still damn good with the amount of things that were being said. It's like, I don't think that's how the NFL works.
It wasn't overblown. And probably it didn't have as much coverage as probably at this particular point in our where we are in the world. It would have been more coverage because it was just turmoil after turmoil. It was just too much of nothing going on, And you got to remember, and we both have been a part of it, especially in the run that you guys had, even when you were young. I mean, there were guys who didn't like Peyton.
Yep.
There were guys who despised Peyton. There were guys who thought Peyton just thought they were just like trash. And so, it was like, well, forget about Peyton, and I'm gonna go and play for this guy, or I'm gonna do this. And in locker rooms, as we know, success usually breeds egos, big egos. Everybody individually wants their shine. And so that's what you've seen. You've seen a lot of guys not being able to handle the success of making it to the Super Bowl and preparing for what we had to do in order to get back to that particular point. And so they thought it was so easy at that particular point in that year that, we were just going to have it again next year. And so now you start seeing guys pointing the finger at each other. You still seeing getting websites. You're seeing guys getting radio shows. You're seeing guys on TV talking about me. And then what happened was it just kind of blew over because the main two pieces of it all were me and T.O. So it became that story. But then there was still stuff in the wings that was going on with other players who were trying to get their shine. And so, you got to understand, in this game that we play, man, everybody's not built for the spotlight. Everybody wants to be in the spotlight, but as soon as the spotlight gets hot, they scatter like roaches. And so it's kind of like, oh, it wasn't me. It's not me. And it's like, wait a minute, now take a little bit of accountability and let's continue to move forward.
Everybody wants to be a lion until it comes time to do what lions have to do. I mean, that is a quote.
Absolutely.
That is a quote that rings true with the NFL too. You see a lot of guys that want to be in the NFL, but then to do the things to stay in the NFL and be successful in the NFL, they're not about that. They're about flexing that they're in the NFL. But have you and T.O. made up since all that? I don't know if that has publicly happened. Do you ever talk to him?
I do not. and nor is my mind even set to do that at this particular point. I mean,
really,
I've moved on, and in this world that we live in, it's too much that's going on at this time that my focus needs to be on that.
Got it.
My focus is on my kids that are here at the house for me to be the best dad that I can possibly be. My focus is on try to change with social justice and police brutality, as well as inequality, to try to change that and speak, try to teach the youth in which I'm training of what's going on in the world so they're prepared. And then also, at the end of it all, man, just try to be healthy and try to live and be here for my kids as they continue to grow.
I hope you and Terrell get a chance to talk sometime. You guys did a lot of great things together. And obviously, you do what you got to do. You're a man, you make your own decisions. But I hope someday that comes to fruition. A lot of people will love to see it. Go ahead, Diggs.
Donovan, as you know, Philly is a very, very tough place to play. And for Carson
Wentz.
Carson Wentz.
Santa Claus got bad.
I know. where the backup quarterback wins the Super Bowl, you've had some injury issues, stuff like that, and now they draft another quarterback. Not that that's to replace him, but what do you think Carson Wentz is dealing with as far as skepticism and stuff like that inside the city of Philadelphia?
Well, he's the baby boy over there. I mean, they love Carson out there. And so I just think what Carson is just dealing with is what any other quarterback deals with. Remember, he came off an MVP season, I think, in his second year starting. And then the next year he battled injury again. Nick Foles steps in, takes his team to a Super Bowl. He's sitting on the sideline. Nick Foles has a statue built in front of the stadium. He comes back the next year. He gets hurt again. So, I mean, what he's going through is the fans are like, what's up, man? Like, we need this now. Like, they've invested $100 million into him. He gets hurt last year in the playoffs. Then they draft a quarterback in Jalen Hurts for depth. But, I went through the same thing. I mean, they drafted Kevin Cobb, remember, in the second round.
Oh, yeah.
While I was there, which I didn't think nothing of it. I didn't care anything about it. But what ended up happening after I finished kind of my duration with my contract and then got an extension after that is I was traded to the Redskins, and they put Kevin Cobb as the starter. Now, it didn't work out well because he had concussions and Mike Vick then stepped in. But that's what we go through as quarterbacks. And so I think it's not just Philadelphia, and people can look at Philadelphia because of the reputation that they have. It's all across the league. You can't just kind of ride your horse to a player that continuously gets hurt and think it's going to be okay at some point. You got to support yourself and get depth.
Let's talk about a quarterback situation in the town that you live. Kyler Murray last year, him and Cliff Kingsbury, towards the end of the season, were causing people problems. I mean, they were causing people problems. And he's a freak athlete, obviously top 5 pick in both NFL and the MLB. I mean, that is just, I couldn't even fathom being that athletic. That has to feel pretty damn, today I'm going to go to the MLB, actually.
Hey, you know what? It feels good. I have an idea. I'm not to his caliber.
But you were rated.
You got to tell yourself, Pat, like, yeah, I'm a great athlete. I'm just maybe not on his level, but I'm still a great athlete. You got the arms out, you know what I'm saying? Guns out. It ain't even right.
Oh!
Yeah, there you go.
Thank
wait a minute. Are those jorts? What kind of shorts you got on?
Donovan, let's get back to the questions. Okay? Let's get back to the conversation here. He got a Madden rating of 77, okay? And obviously the Madden rating is much more important nowadays than it was back in the day, because anytime you're judged from 0 to 100 by somebody you don't know, and that could potentially be perceived as how people view your talent because some random human put you at 0 to 100, he's a 77 overall. But last year, him and Cliff Kingsbury started to figure it out towards the end of the year, I think. Honestly, the NFL is much different than college for both of them. I assume that both of them had to have something. Now they bring in Nuke. What are your thoughts on Kyler Murray? I think he has a chance to be super special. I think he has a chance to be very, very special.
Well, he's a special individual, and he's super talented in what he's able to do. You have to take into account the kid never lost a high school football game. I believe he won 4 state titles, and he was a 5-star athlete going to Texas A&M, where Cliff Kingsbury, I believe, recruited him and Kevin Sumlin. And then Cliff Kingsbury leaves. He goes through that first year as his freshman year, doesn't go well, then he transfers. But you also have to look into account Baker Mayfield was a Heisman Trophy winner the year before he started. And so we all know when you have one of the most focal point, one of the guys that you can focus on in college who wins a Heisman, that next quarterback, it's a lot of pressure. This kid stepped in and had better numbers than Baker Mayfield. And then what he did last year as a rookie, everyone goes through their little rookie, kind of like stripes, you got to kind of gain them the first 6 games. After that, he started balling. And so that just goes to tell you a little bit more about Kyler Murray's game, where it's not just all about flash. The kid knows how to play the football game at the position. And so, you talk about his rating for Madden. I've always had an issue with the ratings in Madden, because even when I was on the cover, I don't think I was ever higher than like 86 or 88. Yeah. And first of all, here's a guy who, would you say, was 77?
Yeah.
He was Rookie of the Year last year. He's Rookie of the Year, and you gave him 77, which you might give some tight ends. I mean, it's amazing, because why can't he be in the 84, 86 category and coming off his rookie season? His speed probably should be around 92, because we see how fast he is. His arm strength and accuracy probably will be in about the 82, 84. I mean, it's unbelievable. But, again, everyone gets upset about their Madden ratings. I don't know what yours was at that particular time, Pat, but my speed was very low.
Hey, listen, Donovan, the internet loves to pile on professional athletes whenever they care about what people are saying, because the old adage is like, don't read the press clippings, don't hear what anybody says about you, but that's just not reality, okay? That is not, it's shoved down your throat, basically, so you have to see everything like that. So the first couple of years that I was in that Madden game, they gave my arm strength, by the way, which we have all seen now. We have all seen, I just didn't have like 15 or something like that. Then they had my speed. Yeah, I was not happy, Donovan. I mean, I understand you were on the cover and they disrespected you, but I was at the bottom of the totem pole and they were disrespecting me too. So it was from top to bottom, Donovan. I was not happy about it. But if I'm you and they're putting me on the cover and they give you an 80-something, were you worried about the Madden curse?
You know what? I didn't even think of it at that time, because remember, it wasn't that much of a big deal. I think Eddie George might have been on before me, and he got hurt. I don't know who else may have graced the cover and what happened in that situation, but when I got hurt, Michael Vick was right after me. And that was the first thing I said to him. Look, man, this curse might be real. Like something's going on. And then he breaks his ankle in the preseason game against Baltimore. And so, the funny thing about it is the fact that now we can look back on it and say what it was. But then now you look at some of these guys, like Patrick Mahomes is on the cover. Boom, he gets hurt. Now Lamar Jackson's on it this year, and I'm like, oh, God, that would be like Vic when he got hurt. Like, everyone's excited about this year, and then if he gets hurt, it's going to be like, oh, God. Madden might lose a little stock going forward.
Well, especially if they're giving cover athletes 86s or whatever, people might turn it down. Donovan,
absolutely.
I can't thank you enough for joining us, man. This is an incredible conversation.
Thank you, man. Next time I'm gonna have my sleeveless shirt going. I had arm day like a couple of days ago, so I'm ready to roll with you. I don't know about those shorts though, Pat.
Well, you got to do leg day too, Donovan. You know what I mean? You got to do leg day, Donovan. Have a little respect. Have a little respect, ladies and gentlemen.
Man, I didn't eat breakfast yet, man. Don't have me throw up looking at me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Eagles Hall of Famer, legend, Donovan McNabb. See you, man. Appreciate you.
All right, appreciate it, Pat.
What a cool combo. We got to get to a break. Diggs got to sell something. We'll react to that conversation on the other side of the break here. Hey, cool dude.
Yeah. Cool dude.
Cool dude.
Yeah.
By the way, Urlacher moved into his name.
That's right. Everyone needs a great pair of wireless earbuds, and you already know Raycon earbuds are about half the price of any other premium wireless earbuds on the market, and that they sound just as amazing as the other top audio brands. Their newest model, the Everyday E25 earbuds, are their best ones yet, with 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a nice noise isolating fit. Raycon's wireless earbuds are so comfortable. Perfect for binging podcasts, video chats, conference calls. Unlike some of your other wireless options, Raycon earbuds are both stylish and discreet with no dangling wires or stems. Call to action. Get 15% off your order at Pull to Zito.
Yeah, you did. That's tough. Hey, that is tough. You had that whole walking, talking promo with
I was trying to fly through this.
Yeah, but you're starting to feel yourself, I think, and then all of a sudden, boom, right back into the illiteracy camp with Zito. That's tough. That is tough.
Get 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/Pat. That's buyraycon.com/Pat for 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds. Buyraycon.com/Pat.
We are back on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Thursday, July 23rd. By the way, it has been confirmed. We have a massive guest at noon. YouTube.com/the Pat McAfee Show.
Go.
Nobody's going to expect this conversation to happen in studio, in town. Let's go. This is the Pat McAfee Show. I was told by Del Curry, Scottie Pippen struggles on a golf course, right?
Right.
I was told at that thing that I'm going against Scottie Pippen the next day, match play, heads up, one-on-one Scottie Pippen. So we decide, like, okay, we could probably have a couple drinks, stay at the casino a little bit longer than we should.
Representing the NFL out of the Shoeless Golf Club of America, Pat McAfee. His opponent, representing the NBA, Scottie Pippen.
You know what I mean? This guy's got 6 rings. Yeah. He's a fucking Hall of Famer. But today he's going to play against me. And then I start seeing Scottie hit some shots that are just like starting to come together. And I'm like, wait a fucking minute. I think I was lied to.
We were lied to yesterday. We were told Scottie Pippen was a terrible golfer. Bro, he's Scottie fucking Pippen.
Going in the back 9, I think I was down 1. Like, we were battling. But I started making putts. And Scottie Pippen went ahead and got real hot. I mean, real fucking hot. I was down 3 with 7 left. And I looked right in the camera, and I go,
so we're down 3 with like 7 holes left. Scottie Pippen's about to get this work.
Scottie Pippen from 190 yards out just fucking dunks it. Fucking boom, bang, and then walks up to the green, gets the ball, cameras on him, and he goes, Pippen ain't easy. Kidding me?
All right, down 4 with 6 left after Scottie Pippen just chips in from fucking 400 yards out.
I was fucking demoralized.
Pippen ain't easy.
By the way, best he's ever performed at golf, because I'm around, better teammate than Jordan.
Yep.
People forget. Oh, yeah, I told Del, I was like, Del, what the fuck you lying to me? He was like, well, I saw it yesterday. He was not great. And Greg Anthony told me, and I was like, Del, he buried me, Del Curry. He buried me. He was like, hey, Pippen ain't easy.
Yes, baby, it's time to celebrate.
Talking about a shotgun of beer after he had beat me, obviously. I like teach him how to do it.
Yeah, put a hole in there. It might spread a little bit, so.
Yeah, so you're going to go here, and then you're going to open and flip up. Does that make sense? Congrats on winning the NBA a couple times, blah, 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 blah. And being an incredible golfer. Thanks, Paul. Cheers. Appreciate it. Hey.
Damn.
Okay,
That's the
Scottie.
best Bud Light I ever had.
Hey, there's no Scott King up here.
You're right.
Fellas, are you prepared to unveil your summer bod?
Hey, hold on. Fellas. Yeah. Sorry. I had to. I literally thought of it. That Versus last night with Snoop Dogg and DMX was awesome. I don't know if everybody watched it. They should have. 517,000 people were watching when I was watching. Snoop Dogg was getting after it. DMX looks like he's like 270 and living his life. That was awesome. I was like, sorry. Go ahead, back to the fellas.
Listen, the beaches are opening, the sun is shining, and the bushes must be tamed.
Amen.
Manscaped is here to ensure your post-quarantine body is ready for the wild. And they're dedicated to helping you level up your full body grooming game. They have forever changed the grooming game with their Perfect Package 3.0, which comes with the Essential Lawnmower, which is a waterproof cordless body trimmer, and a ton of other liquid formulations to round out your manscaping routine. This is the best trimmer on the market for those of you in need of a chest shave. And this third-generation trimmer features skin-safe technology to reduce manscaping accidents.
Hell yeah.
Be sure to use their crop cleanser to keep your hair and skin healthy. It's an all-in-one formula, so it's as good for healthy chest hair as it is for your skin. You'll also find the Crop Reviver, a below-the-belt toner that's designed to give you a pep in your step and smell great. Subscribe to the Perfect Package and get a new blade refill for your lawnmower trimmer delivered to your door every 3 months. And for a limited time, subscribers get 2 free gifts, the Shed Travel Bag and the patented high-performance, reduced chafing Manscaped Boxer Briefs. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code PATM at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code PATM. Your balls will thank you.
Special guest joining us at noon. A lot of people in the comment section are saying it's Peyton Manning. It is not.
Oh, the sheriff?
It is not the sheriff.
Jeff Bezos?
It is somebody that nobody would expect to have on the show, though, at this point. Ladies, I mean, I'm pumped for it. YouTube.com/CPAT Show, noonish. Let's go to Tim in Maryland. Tim, what's going on?
What's going on, boys? How are you?
Hey, not too shabby there. How are you, pal?
Hey, I just want to let you know, a lot of people are going to end up losing money tonight when the World Series champion Washington Nationals come and wipe the floor with those New York Yankees. What are people even thinking?
Yeah, but you got to remember, they're not actually losing money because FanDuel's refunding up to $100. They're not actually losing money. The only chance is we're taking a favorite to an underdog odds at plus 110 for the Yankees. And to be honest, your Nationals stink, Tim. Tim Fouch might have the best pitch from anybody from D.C. How about that, Tim?
You're probably right. I don't know my football team's name, but I know that I got a World Series championship, and I know I got a Stanley Cup. So I'm like 2/3 happy.
Yeah, well, as you should be. And by the way, Capitals are a team that I think everybody is supposed to hate in the NHL world because, you know, I'm a Pittsburgh Penguin fan, and Pittsburgh Penguins have just dominated you guys over the series of the entire thing, you know, Sid and Malkin.
Except for that one time.
Well, except for that one time. And then, by the way, that one time, watching Ovechkin celebrate that Stanley Cup victory for 2 months straight on a bender made me a Capitals fan immediately. I love Ovi. It just stinks that we have to beat you guys every other year. Let's go to Camden in Texas. What's going on, Camden?
Patty no longer fatty. What up, cuzzy?
Hey, I respect that, brother. What do you want to talk about?
Hey, listen, 2020 really came off the top rope with this one, and some stooge gave the authority to cancel the Ballon d'Or. Was it canceled because the frontrunner didn't have the first name Cristiano or the last name Messi? Or was it canceled because our fellow American, Christian Pulisic, was absolutely dominating the English Premier League, and they don't want an American winning?
Bingo, Camden. Bingo. And by the way, every time you speak, Camden, and I speak about Christian Pulisic being the greatest soccer player on earth and everybody being against him over there because of American bias, we put all of Europe in a blender, and I love it. Listen here, Europe. You guys have had a stranglehold on soccer for a long, long time. And by the way, I guess Argentina is not in Europe for Messi, and you get it. The rest of the world, it's our time now. The world's game is now dominated by an American who's like 5'4" and faster than everybody. And I am here for it completely. And if you don't like it, not my fault. We're better than you are at your sport. That stinks. That absolutely stinks for you. Sorry about it, but here we are talking about Christian Pulisic being an absolute stud and Frank Lampard refusing to start the guy yesterday, and he comes in 153 seconds, go ahead and slices and dices 4 champions, and then he scores a goal, and then they almost come back, but Liverpool's too damn good because you never walk alone.
Yeah, I was very confused why you cancel just a ceremony to reward the best player in soccer for the year. I was very confused about that.
Well, can't exchange jerseys. You know what I mean? Yeah. You play soccer, just can't do an award, Diggs, and potentially because America's going to win the damn thing. Let's go back to the guy who is in Maryland. And he talked about how the Capitals have won, the Nationals have won, and his football team doesn't even have a name. And that's interesting because a team with no name just signed their first-round draft pick to $22-some million guaranteed. Chase Young is now officially signed to the Washington football team name TBDs, which a lot of people think are potentially DC Sentinels, which would come from the Washington Sentinels, which would come from the movie Replacements, which many would argue is the second best football movie of all time. We all know that they no longer have a team name because after years and years and years of scrutiny, in Ron Rivera's first year showing up, they are changing changing the name. They're changing their culture. And Chase Young signed for $22.69 million guaranteed this morning. They are locked in. Here we go. We don't got a name, but we got a pass rusher in the first round. We got a head coach. We hopefully got a new culture in the building so people feel welcomed and appreciated when they're working in the NFL. This team, if they succeed at all, might be the biggest miracle I've ever seen in the entire existence of anything. Football in the NFL in general is all about eliminating distractions. You hear it from everybody. You hear it from anybody in the NFL. If you want to win in the NFL, you got to eliminate distractions because it's already hard enough to win a game. You have to get lucky when it comes to injuries. You have to get lucky when it comes to the ball bouncing your way. You have to get lucky that the big plays come on your side and not for the other team. It's a spar. Then a haymaker comes, and that haymaker, you're hoping you're throwing it and not eating it right in the mouth. And then everything else is let's eliminate distractions so people can focus on ball. Now, the year 2020 is obviously littered with real things happening in the world, which could be perceived as distractions already, let alone the testing going into every single facility, the mask, the plexiglass hockey boards in between each seat, the ability to not talk to each other after practice, but during practice tackle each other. There's already a lot of distractions brought in there. But add into the fact, pandemic, social justice reform, there's a lot of things that could potentially be taking people's attentions away from their job, which is being the best football player you could potentially be, because to do that and to win, you have to be able to focus on that. Plus, now you add in the fact that the team doesn't have a name. Okay? Doesn't have a name. Team doesn't even have a name. We are 5 days before training camp supposed to happen. We don't even know what our team name is. Okay? We're not even Washington anymore. People think they're DC. So you're walking into a building with no name. I want to work for a team with no name. Gunning it out on the rain. Couldn't trade a jersey because we don't have any, because we don't have a mother name, and it's DC Sentinels maybe, or in the other name. Am I embarrassed? Or do I feel real shame because we play for a team with no name? La, la, So that's what's going on in Chase Young's life. Could you imagine signing to the NFL? Your dream has come true. You're getting $22.69 million. I guess nothing else matters aside from that. But you literally signed your name to join a team that doesn't even have a name. And this is the NFL. This is the big leagues. This is the highest it can get.
Pretty cool getting all that security when there is more uncertainty around him than probably ever before in his life. But, hey, he's good.
Ron Rivera's there. Okay, Ron Rivera, big shoulders. He's going to be taking on the entire load here of an entire franchise, renaming, rebranding, reimagining, rebuilding, culturing, everything Ron Rivera has to make happen. And that guy and Dwayne Haskins are going to be the two staples to build an entire new franchise in a league that's been established for a long, long time, on a team that's been around for a long, long time. Good luck, boys. You're going to have some real mental fortitude to get through it. And is Chase Young the guy for it? We will find out. He's got 22 million reasons to at least show why, and we're pumped for it. But this is what you like to call stepping into a fire and hopefully bringing a big enough hose to put them all out.
I think it's awesome that for 2 years of your life at 19 and 20, you get $22 million, and you could be terrible for the next 4 years. But it doesn't even matter. 2 years.
Used to be 60 million. Used to be 65 million. I got drafted in the same draft class, obviously, as Matty Stafford. Mm-hmm. Matty Stafford drafted number 1 overall at Detroit Lions. I think he got $60 million guaranteed the day he signed. Then new CBA happens, and obviously it all gets slotted and gets changed. And I saw some people tweeting like, what has he accomplished in the NFL to get $22.69 million? It's like, well, he's accomplished a lot, and they invested a massive, important thing in the NFL, a first-round draft pick on him, a top 5 draft pick on him. And that's just the way the CBA is. Here you go. You're probably going to play. You're young. This is for all the work you've done before and all the work you're expecting to do in the future. But the work you're going to be doing in the future is potentially for in an organization that doesn't even have a name.
And they have to do an all-new playbook, scheme on offense and defense. So can veterans even help out these young guys if they don't know what they're doing either?
That's just like when Andrew Luck was a rookie. We had Bruce Arians in there. First-time offensive coordinator for us again. He was back when Peyton was there, but we got rid of everybody. We cleaned house. Andrew Luck gets drafted. Andrew Luck can't come to the OTAs because he's finishing his architectural degree at Stanford. He gets sent the playbook, though, whenever he's in Stanford, and Andrew Luck brainiac, genius. He memorizes the entire playbook, okay? So he comes into OTAs like last week or whatever because he gets his degree, he graduates, and here he is, first overall pick. We see him for the first time, and he knows the entire playbook inside and out, and during walkthroughs, he's making checks that the rest of the team hasn't even got to yet. So veterans are actually looking to him to see what the hell to do in an offense that was brand new, and then whenever they're in the middle of the game, you had an offensive line that was brand new. You had wide receivers like Reggie Wayne there, who's OG, but he's learning a new offense. You got T.Y. Hilton as well. You got Kobe Fleener. You got Andrew Luck. You got all these young guys, and it's all just kind of trying to learn it together. And that, I think, the franchise is going to be brand new, and I think that team is going to be very, very young, and they're going to kind of come through this together, and that's what they're going to have to do. This is almost more like a college feel, by the way. Like, hey, we're going through this together. We're in this together. Nobody thinks we're going to be good. Nobody has any clue what we're going to be able to do together in this locker room. Wow. The fire is just circling us.
Well, and that's why you bring in Kyle Allen as a backup quarterback to teach Dwayne Haskins the offense that he's been in for the last couple years or whatever.
Yeah, you have to keep the system the same. They also have a quarterback from Carolina got traded up there for a 5th-round draft pick.
Kyle Allen.
Yeah, there it is. Bingo. You just said it. Yeah, Kyle Allen. Wow. I forgot his name already. The guy won some games last year for the Panthers.
Yeah.
The guy won some games.
He's on the show.
He was on this show from his backyard. Good guy. Great guy. Kyle, that's on me. That's 100% on me. But, yeah, that is the type of thing that's going to have to happen. And then on the defensive side of the ball, they have to figure it out, too. I mean, there's a lot going on. If they succeed, I think that should potentially be team of the year. Like, if they even –
Coach of the year.
Coach of the year, team of the year, just because everybody knows. Now, it's not just the people in the area. Everybody knows, though, that entire building is on fire over there. It was always assumed. Okay, and they always say, like, you can keep your mouth shut and people will assume you're dumb, or open your mouth and reassure that you're an idiot or something like that. Washington, we've always assumed was just a dumpster fire. And then everything's come out. It's like, oh, yeah, it actually is a dumpster fire. So if Dwayne Haskins has success over there, it's going to be amazing. Same with Chase Young.
And then on the other side of the ball, I wanted to make sure they brought in Thomas Davis, who's been in the league for like 17 years and was a long-time Carolina Panthers. So like they realized you got to bring in quarterback, linebacker, teach the defense.
Thomas Davis, by the way, played in a Super Bowl like 4 days after getting an entire steel beam put in his forearm.
Yeah.
Tough guy. Good guy. Was on this show as well.
Yeah.
I think Washington, you got Ron Rivera, you got Thomas Davis, you got Kyle Allen, Dwayne Haskins is a stud. Now you got Chase Young.
Terry McLaurin.
Are they going to win at all?
They might win the division.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Let's go win.
Never
the
know
whole
with the
damn
NFC
thing.
East.
45 minutes after the hour, this is the Pat McAfee Show. We're back on the other side.
Come with me. Come with me. A company just gave $80 million in site credit to their users. $80 million. That company was FanDuel Sportsbook. So you would think, we're done. We're good. We don't need to do anything else. Wrong. Thursday, July 23rd, they are giving up to $100 back to their bettors for any bet that settles on Thursday that you lose. So basically, let me put it this way. If your net losses for the day are $57, you're gonna get $57 back. It doesn't matter if you make one $57 bet or 57 $1 bets and you lose them all. If you lose up to $100, you are going to get that money back. If you win, you win. You're not getting anything back. Let's not get crazy. But if you lose any bet that ends on Thursday, baseball, 2 baseball games, back. We're back, baby. Golf. Anything that ends on Thursday and you lose money on FanDuel, up to $100, you're getting that money back. And that is why they're the best website to sports bet, hands down guaranteed.
Hey, Tone, if you were going to do this, what would you do?
What I would do one $100 parlay, as many games as I could get in there, because you know you're getting that $100 back, baby.
When I say linked, you say in. Linked.
In.
Linked.
In.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Hey, look at you, little crowd control. That's what that's called.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Small businesses have unique needs, and despite the current uncertainty,
nailed it.
One thing that remains unchanged is the importance of having the right people on your team. When your business is ready to make the next hire, LinkedIn Jobs can help by matching your role with qualified candidates so you can find the right person quickly. Host, please explain. LinkedIn is an active community of professionals with more than 690 million members worldwide.
Why?
LinkedIn Jobs screens candidates with the hard and softy skills you're looking for, and put your job post in front of qualified members every day so that it's seen by people looking for jobs like yours. I'm going to call to action real quick.
Yeah, go ahead and give that call. Grab that phone, pal.
You got it. When your business is ready to make sure the next hire, find the next person with LinkedIn Jobs. You can pay what you want and get the first $50 off. Just visit linkedin.com/Pat. Again, that's linkedin.com/Pat to get $50 off your first job post. Terms and conditions may apply.
Call God. Oh, you hung up on him. Oh. Linked in. Nailed it. This thing dies every show. Not a bad Thursday, July 23rd. Remember, we have a guest coming in here in a few moments for an in-studio conversation. A lot of people are going to be mind-blown that this person and I are having a conversation, I think. But I'm a professional. Hey, I'm a professional. We're professional.
Obviously.
And it's 2020. We're all through. Let's go. Let's have a good. It's going to be a mind-blower, though. Today's show has been one where I've learned a lot. Donovan McNabb, by the way. I don't think I've ever talked to Donovan McNabb before. Have I?
I don't think so.
Not on
this show.
And I saw him one time at a UFC fight. He was sitting a couple rows behind me. Flex.
What's up, dude?
I was sitting with somebody that was much more important than me and him, apparently. But he had a great time. He had a great time. And I didn't get a chance to interact with him. That conversation with him made me change, I think, a lot of perspective that people have on Donovan McNabb. I do hope he and Terrell Owens have a conversation at some point, though. That would be cool to put the swords away after all these times. And I tried to put the seed into the plant there, or into the garden there. I tilled it first, obviously. I put the seed in.
Smart.
Hopefully that'll blossom into potentially a re-friendship, because those two accomplish a lot together. A lot together.
That coaching tree, too.
Life's about putting swords away.
That's right.
Hey, put our swords aside. What about the wedding night? Wasn't there a little love there? Huh? Maybe. That's the entire thing. What did we not talk about today that we're supposed to talk about? We talked about Bol getting a random drug test. We talked about the Seahawks. Oh, no. Seahawks will attempt to sign Josh Gordon Flash again. He had flashes of excellence last year before another failed test. Said failed test no longer has a suspension guarantee with it with the marijuana. So maybe Flash Gordon's back for the Seattle Seahawks. They were also working out Antonio Brown. My ear things don't work. How much time do we have?
30 seconds.
Okay. Mike Zimmer had got an extension. Congrats to him. DMX and Snoop. Seattle has a hockey team. The NFL we talked about. Tom Brady checked in. MLB opening day tonight. We have a watch along. Come join us at 7 o'clock. YouTube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. I mean, here we go. We're having a show. We will see you tonight. Stick around on YouTube for a guest coming in studio soon. All right, big show, good show. Yeah. Baseball
big
tonight.
Show. Mm-hmm.
Not a bad day. Sticking around on YouTube because I was informed this morning that we will be having a guest come into the studio, and I'm going to tell you what. The guest that's coming into the studio, I don't think anybody would ever think he and I would be having a conversation. Ain't that right, Tom?
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
I extended an invitation to this man to come on the show because he and I have been, had a couple animosity situations happen before. I've worked with the NXT, obviously, WWE NXT for the last few years. He and I had some run-ins, but I have nothing but respect for his work. Here he is. A man who is in town to see his family, the longest reigning NXT champ of all time.
I'm here. How's it going, man?
Adam Cole. Bang!
Yeah! Woo! That's a pretty good intro. Not bad.
Can you move the mic towards your face so people can hear you?
Closer towards it. Sorry.
By the way,
very much in family mode right now. So.
Yeah, thank you for coming by.
Yeah,
welcome
no
to Indianapolis. Very, very thankful you're here. A lot of people have told me, they said, hey, you've worked with NXT for a long time. I've been very lucky to cover the NXT brand, by the way. Hottest brand in sports entertainment.
Without question.
Without question.
Yeah.
And you and I have had moments, and I've been told by my friends in WWE, they go, hey, you and Adam have your moments on screen, but you've never had them on the show. I heard you're coming to town. I invited you to come. You came. Very stand-up move by you.
Yeah, a bunch of my fans keep telling me about your show as well, which, truth be told, I haven't seen much of any of it. But I wanted to make sure that I came and chatted with you a little bit. So I'm glad I'm here. It's a really cool setup.
Well, the good news for you is the people who have seen the show probably have never seen you. So we're introducing you to a...
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
This is Adam Cole! Yeah.
Thanks, Pat.
For people that don't know who you are, okay, you were the longest reigning NXT champion, 403 days. Very, very impressive. You lost recently, but your journey in the wrestling world to being this guy at WWE NXT has been a long one, I assume, like everybody in the wrestling business.
Yeah, I got started like a lot of people. I was 18 years old. I was still a senior in high school. I used to drive 2 hours to Philadelphia. It was 2 hours there, 2 hours back, and I would train Monday through Thursday for a company called Combat Zone Wrestling. It was an independent promotion
CZW
in Philadelphia. Yeah, Ultra Violence. But yeah, yeah. So I got my start there, and then again, just traveled in cars, really long rides, like 16-hour car rides, lots of times for zero money. Just the hope and prayers that I got picked up by a bigger company or got to wrestle somewhere else, and then I started wrestling overseas. So yeah, it took me about 10 years, man, to get to WWE.
A lot of people don't know about the independent wrestling scene.
Right.
But there are, you said you didn't get paid a lot of times, you drove a long way. There are these horror stories amongst wrestlers where you're wrestling in front of like 4 people, 5 people.
I got a good one. I got a
Okay.
good one for you. One time in the Poconos, I wrestled in front of 6 people, and it was a family of 6. The 5 of the members of the family did not make a noise, didn't make a peep the entire show, but the dad, no shirt underneath, just overalls on, he was rocking back and forth like this, just going, "Get him! Get him!" Greatest moment of my life.
Did he enjoy you? Yeah, he was a big fan.
I think so. Yeah, I think he liked me. I think he saw some potential in me even back then.
When did you get your call up to NXT? That had to be like dream come true, I'd assume.
It was really cool. So again, at this point, I was a fairly established independent wrestler.
You had been to the Honorable Ring.
Exactly. I was there, and then in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, I'd wrestled for New Japan Pro Wrestling. Stuff was going really, really well for me. So when it came time that my contract was coming up, I had heard rumblings that there was some interest right before my deal actually came up, or right when it finished. That's when I got the call that I'd been hoping for 10 years. Because I had done tryouts and stuff before as well, where like, I think I had done 2 or 3 WWE tryouts before I actually got hired. And every time that no came, tryout after tryout, it hurt more and more. So to finally get that call of not only that they were interested in hiring me, but that they had plans and a vision for who I was going to be in NXT it was surreal.
For people that don't know who NXT is or what NXT is, there's Raw, there's SmackDown, and then NXT was originally a developmental brand, but now since it's on USA Network every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock, it's become a third legit brand. Did you know that when you signed with WWE that that's what NXT was going to be?
No. So, I mean, at this point, NXT had really established itself as this really exciting, hard-hitting, innovative, action-packed form of pro wrestling. So again, takeovers were still going strong, but by no means.
Well, a lot of people said takeovers were going strong because the pre-shows were so fucking.
Yeah, that's a lot of people had mentioned that.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's all right.
Yeah.
But yeah,
pre-shows
anyway.
were fucking.
The best.
No, that's on me.
The point I was trying to make was, again, takeovers were hot, but at this point, it was still kind of considered the developmental brand. But then I kind of came through this whole transition of NXT. We were filming stuff for the network and filming TV like multiple weeks at a time. So now to go from that to, again, live on the USA Network on Wednesdays, we're very much a third brand. And to me, the most exciting brand in not just WWE, but pro wrestling.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
And I was introduced to the product whenever I went to an NXT live event here in Indianapolis, and you said some very disrespectful things about me, but the show was so damn good. I had nothing but respect for it. And then I got a call to start doing the pre-shows, and I started watching these takeovers, and I'm like, man, these dudes and ladies, the ladies put on incredible. This is next level. It is absolutely, it is a brand that I don't think anybody could have expected, including Triple H whenever he started that thing, to be as dominant as it is. And you've been basically the face of that thing for a couple of years. That has to feel pretty cool. I mean, that has to be a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, I mean, well, it feels even cooler, too, because I know I've said this before in interviews, but the fans are such a huge part of that brand's success. Like, the fans are just as much a part of the show as the wrestlers are. Just the energy that they have, the excitement they have. They knew my history well before I got there. Like, my first night in NXT, after I attacked now WWE champion Drew McIntyre, I remember standing at the top of the ramp.
Oh, it's kind of a blindside, by the way.
And doing, I made a statement.
Okay.
Anyway, so the coolest part was me, who'd never been in WWE before, got to the top of the ramp, did Adam Cole Bebe. Everyone did it with me. They were ready. They were excited. So, yeah, for me to be kind of the flag bearer, the guy who's led the charge, the guy who's been the standard bearer of NXT now for well over a year, it's a cool thing. Just because I look at our roster and I see how talented so many of the men and women are, and to think that I'm the king of that brand is pretty cool.
Whoa. I'm sorry. You said that with a straight face. I've never heard somebody say something like that with a straight. I'm so sorry. I did not expect you to say that with a straight face.
What, so you have an argument to that? How was I not the king of the brand?
I know, and I saw you say, I reign over this. I mean, there was a lot of... Okay, listen, you've had a lot of success. You brought NXT. You were a part of a group that brought NXT. And a lot of people said the pre-show is also the reason why, but to USA, to TV, and then all of a sudden this quarantine hits, right?
Yeah.
So then now there's no fans, which you just talked about. Fans are a massive part of it.
They are.
How has it been in that entire process? Because I couldn't have fathomed a recipe for disaster more in the professional wrestling sports entertainment world than no fans to have any reactions from.
It is freaking weird,
I
man.
could fathom, yeah.
It is so weird. But it's also not as weird as you would imagine. So like, again, you know, the bumps and the bruises and the pain from wrestling matches are far worse when there are no people there.
Well, I know what you're talking about. Because if you do, I'm sorry to interrupt you there. I know about the bumps and the bruises from wrestling.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. More than most. Sporting a couple.
Hey, Mr. Cole.
You know about the bumps.
Listen, Mr. Cole, everybody knows I have a deep history with the internet. And one night, late night, got a little intoxicated, bought a wrestling ring, put it up in the barn. Rip Rogers came through the barn. He trained John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, Pat McAfee for 5 weeks. So no big deal.
I mean this out of complete respect, so totally not trying to offend you. But just because one night you got drunk and then rolled around in your own wrestling ring a couple nights, that doesn't mean that you understand at all what the bumps and bruises are like.
Yeah, that's neither here nor there. I'm just letting you know that I respect the bumps and bruises that you have with no fans. Because when I'm just working with, John Cena's coach, it's just me, him, and the barn.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you totally know what you're talking about.
I do. Oh, speaking of knowing what I'm talking about, there is a lot of buzz about you because you have been the king of NXT and longest reigning NXT champion and first ever North American champion. And I do believe, hey, let's show a little respect to the first ever.
Exactly. First ever double champion in NXT history. A lot of people don't talk about it. I was NXT Tag Team Champion and NXT North American Champion in the same night.
Ever heard of it? That's what we're talking about here.
That's
Double champion. You have all these accolades.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of comparisons to you and Mr. WrestleMania. You and a guy named Shawn Michaels, who I think is obviously a mentor of yours down there at the Performance Center. But I think even you, as a student of the business, would understand that you're nowhere near what Shawn Michaels was. But that has to feel pretty good to be in the same breath as a man that you have a lot of respect for.
Okay. All things considered with what you just said, first of all, Shawn Michaels himself has said there's a lot of comparisons between the two of us, which to me is a huge compliment. And let me finish. I feel like you're going to cut me off.
Well, he's a nice guy.
So he is a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's also one of the greatest, in my opinion, the greatest wrestler of all time. So by any means, I have never, ever once said that I am as good as Shawn Michaels, ever. I know I have years and years to go before I get to that point. I think Shawn recognizes that I'm on my way to maybe someday having a career like his, but he'll tell you, and I'll tell you, I'm not worried about being the second coming of Shawn Michaels. I'm going to be the first Adam Cole. So, again, I really don't know what what you're trying to say, but...
Oh, no, I didn't mean to offend, because you just said it there. Greatest wrestler of all time.
But you can say you're not trying to offend me, but it is offensive, what you're saying.
I didn't mean it.
No, I thought he was having a good time. You've been having a good time. You've never offended a guest before.
Ever. But let's stay on that vein there, because the comparisons to Shawn Michaels are obviously a good one. It's obviously you're on your way. He said it, you said it, the people say it. But he was able to make his name all by himself. And I think this is a pretty big difference with you. Whenever you got brought into NXT to, be the king that you call, they surrounded you with people that some people, I don't say this, some people say this, more talent. What are you getting upset about? These are things that are being said.
And it's a valid question.
I am an interviewer. Okay, people say you surrounded yourself, which is very smart, and they might have done it for you, with people that were also very, very talented, maybe even more talented than you. And then the Undisputed Era kind of got a chance to take off.
I know that you're just trying to do your job, and that's fine. I took some time out of visiting my family to come and do your show, but you're being a total dick right now.
Me.
And I find it so ironic. That of all people to say that I surrounded myself with really great talent, and that's the reason I succeeded. Of all people, what a punter.
Whoa.
You being on a team that literally did everything. You just happen to kick a football every now and then, and all of a sudden you feel like you're really, really important. Of all people to say that to me, that I surround myself with super talented people, and that's the only reason that I was successful. You're a psycho.
We didn't say only reason.
Uh-oh.
We said
It's pretty
main
much what
reason.
Okay. Main reason. That's exactly what you're saying.
And since you just kind of took a little jab there at my profession,
You've been taking jabs at me this whole show.
No. I was the player of the decade at my position in the NFL, being a punter. So although I was surrounded by good people, it was just me and a ball.
And Pat, guess what? I was the longest reigning NXT champion of all time. And guess who did that all by themselves? Oh, that's right, me. Did it all by myself.
No, don't believe that. We've watched the takeovers, Adam. The Undisputed Era is the main reason why you've succeeded. But by the way, smart. That's good business. Hey, that's business, baby. That's very smart. Well, and especially for you, because, you're kind of small.
Oh, we're going to go with the size thing now.
Fuck you, Pat. Seriously, I'm sick of your shit. I come the whole way here, take time away from my family to come to do your stupid fucking show. And you're gonna continue to disrespect me. Don't touch me.
Whoa!
Fuck you, Pat. Fuck you.
No, fuck you. Get out of here.
Shit.
You all right? What the fuck is wrong with that guy?
Wow.
I mean, a lot happened here very quickly. Was I being condescending to him?
No, complimenting him.
I didn't think so either. I thought I was just pointing out the facts. Have we ever been that disrespected in our own studio before? No. No. That's why I haven't had him on the show, though, by the way.
Smart.
Because you don't know what this guy. You have no idea what this guy.
Fucking loose cannon.
I mean, we're having a good conversation. We're up and running, and boom, all of a sudden, he's right here. Fuck me, fuck you. This pushes Ty, who's got colitis. And we even talk about that. And then he storms off. What's he doing now? Breaking shit out in the office? Thursday, July 23rd. I have no idea how we get out. Like, what am I going to? Am I going to go fight this guy out here? Do you think he's just sitting, he's Billy Tubes and him and my dad just hanging out right now? What do we do here? That's a show. Hey, watch along tonight. Yankees and Nationals. Tony Foch throwing out the opening pitch. We'll have special guests. Be a friend, tell a friend, say, hey, come watch the MLB prime time Yankees and Nationals game with Pat McAfee, AJ Hawk, the boys, special guests, and also tell them that Adam Cole's a fucking asshole. That was terrible.
Yeah.
Now we got to go figure this out. Are we going to
Yeah.
fight somebody right now? I guess this is what we're going to do. Let's go. That's the show.